We've had a lot of injuries in the NBA this season. I'm gonna just reel off a couple. You got Victor Wembanyama out for the year. Joel Embiid has not been healthy all year, and he's out for the year. Anthony Davis just went down. Kyrie Irving, Jalen Johnson, Brandon Ingram. The Dallas Mavericks went through a plethora of injuries, including I already mentioned Kyrie and Anthony Davis, but Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively. The Magic have been ridiculed with injuries. Franz and Paulo went down for an extended amount of time. Jalen Suggs is out for the year. Mo Wagner. Philly has been decimated. I mentioned Embiid, but Paul George, potential rookie of the year, Jared McCain. Maxi's now out for the year. The Pistons, Jaden Ivey. The Pelicans, Zion and Trey Murphy missed an extended amount of time. Trey Murphy's out for the year. Herb Jones, DeJounte Murray, Cam Thomas. The list goes on, fellas. So I just want to ask you guys, how have injuries affected the NBA this year? I know it's basketball. Players get injured. But in particular, this year's, obviously right now, how do you guys feel about injuries?
Mars?
Oh, I don't normally go first. I mean, I think every year injuries are a big story. It's sports. I don't think this year is more. I don't know if it's more than it ever is. It's just it happens. I think I spoke about it a lot when it comes to like the all defensive teams and stuff, and how like most of those guys who I think were on pace to be all defensive players this year aren't going to hit the game's threshold. But generally speaking, I think injuries are a story of the season. It comes down to what team is the healthiest in terms of what they do in the playoff seeding or what they do in playoff matchups. Last year, the Indiana Pacers and Knicks series, I think ultimately ended up coming down to the fact that the Knicks got hurt in the postseason. OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson, etc. And then you look at Boston's playoff run, Jarrett Allen goes down, Donovan Mitchell goes down, Tyrese Halliburton goes down. Obviously, even for Boston, Porzingis goes down. Like it all comes down to injuries at the end of the day. It's sports. We all would hope that we could have a season where everyone's healthy, whether that be Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard for a whole season, Wemby stays healthy. Like that would be the dream. But at the end of the day, this is like kind of what you expect when it comes to sports. So I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary in terms of guys being hurt. I just think it's just as disappointing as it always is, but it also just comes with the territory. And I expect it at this point. When a team's healthy for a whole year, that's fortune. It's not, that's what you expect. So that's a fortunate situation when a team doesn't deal with injuries.
Okay. I got a question for you. In the 1980s, how many games on average do you think star players missed?
Star players are all-stars? Just
all-stars, yeah.
Probably on average about maybe 7 games. Probably played about 75 on average.
10.4.
Close enough.
Per player, right?
Yeah, on average.
Yeah, 10.4.
Okay, so they played about 72, 71 on average.
That's in the 80s. In the 90s, any guesses?
How many they missed?
11, 12.
10.6. You are damn close. What about in the 2000s? We're talking the Allen Iverson era.
They missed less than that era.
Nah, because Shaq missed a lot of games.
Shaq dragging down the averages, right? So
9.
It was 13.9.
Okay.
What about in the 2010s?
15.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is where it got nasty.
15, 16.
23.9.
That's dragged down by Steph ankle injuries, Kawhi Leonard legitimate injuries.
Sorry, 17.5. My bad.
17. Okay. So 16, I was right. 16, I was in the
range. What about this decade?
23.9.
Yep, it's 23.9. Oh, you saw the future. Okay, my bad. So it's been going up, and it's been going up at an alarming rate. And this year, we have seen probably the worst. So it's not business as usual. It's really bad.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before, and I had this conversation with Chill when we had our one-on-one in Indy. I think most of that has to do with the game is much faster, much bigger, and much more athletic than it was previously. And I think that human beings like Joel Embiid that are 7'1" are not meant to move that way, and maybe in particular move in such a fluid and agile way. I think there's a lot of correlation between size and mobility and the pace and space era we're in now, I think it's more difficult for players to play at a high level consistently. And then on top of that too, you just think, because when you started reading some of those numbers, I mean, my first brain, I remember the 80s in terms of like who the players were and how they were playing very well. I remember the 90s extremely well. The 2000s, honestly, even better than the 2010s at one point. And I think if you just kind of average it out, Penn, remember Steph Curry had some huge ankle issues to start the 2010s and then started his career. You had Kevin Durant going down. Russell Westbrook went down with a season-ending injury. You had Kevin Durant again later on in that 18-19 year where he was going battling through injuries. I think if you look at LeBron, really LeBron's the only one that was able to not have true injury. Even James Harden was, I would say, relatively healthy that entire period, but he went down obviously in the 21 era with the hamstring and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, Giannis has played a lot of games, but as Giannis has gotten older, he's gotten more dinged up as of late, but he was playing a tremendous amount of games. Really the only players that are playing that are at star levels, that are playing crazy games. I mean, Sabonis up until this year, been very healthy. Jokic obviously has been very healthy, very fortunate for a big to be as healthy as he's been. Tatum is extremely healthy. Jaylen Brown. But remember, Jimmy Butler was healthy really up until that back injury that he had right after the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like the context for me is Hallie. You look at the way that people are getting hurt. Embiid has had a freak injury for basically 6 straight years. Hallie had a lot of lower body injuries and back injuries. And I think some of that is just related to like the way he was moving, how he was falling, all that kind of stuff. So I just think the league now is just tougher. I think that things about playing defense in the league are tougher. I think the strain on your body is tougher. And, one of the things that players say is it's not even
harder to run in 2025 than it was in 1995. Can we stop
it's not
with
harder
this,
to
man?
run. It's just,
So
I think it's just
I don't think that's what he said. But
No,
at all.
I feel
Well, I'm
someone
trying to
someone needs
grasp
to
the
put their
concept that he's
chill
saying.
hat on right now and offer some of that OG wisdom. Swiper, if your house get broken into every single year, it's not a freak injury. You got to move.
Come on, Embiid.
Yeah. He said a
Well,
freak injury, freak injury.
Yeah, he tore his meniscus
I
twice.
mean, his body
Got hit in the
is probably more susceptible to injuries than like LeBron.
Yes.
But like, what's the moving for Joel Embiid? If your house is getting broken into, move house. What does Joel Embiid do? Get a body transplant? Like, what's he meant to do?
I mean, would it help to be in better shape?
He's
sure.
been
I mean, this year he said he lost weight to prepare
did.
for the season, and he's been more injured this year than he has been in the last 2 years. So that didn't help. Whether that be when he came into the season in, was it 2019, in great shape, ended up being hurt in that postseason as well. So like, you tell me, he came into the league hurt. Was he out of shape at Kansas? I don't think so. From when I watched. So you tell me, is that the solution?
But that's also like you're taking an abnormality. Like there's other players, like Sam Bowie was hurt many times, like over the course of his career. He was a very
Grant Hill got hurt, Penny got hurt. Like people get hurt in every era. I think guys like Joel Embiid, whose body is susceptible to injuries, in previous generations, and this is not me knocking the previous generations.
Mm-hmm.
In previous generations, I think we're probably at a point where we just don't see them. Like they probably do retire early. Whether that be like Grant Hill played for a long time, but he wasn't Grant Hill.
Not the same. Yeah.
After like 6 years. Penny Hardaway wasn't Penny Hardaway after like year 4, year 5. Brandon Roy retired very early.
T-Mac,
I think that's probably what you would have seen if guys like Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard played 20 years ago.
Yeah, they wouldn't have even lasted this long, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they wouldn't have made it this long. So what we have now is we have these guys who probably wouldn't have even made it 7 years, 20 years ago, playing for longer, but we're only seeing them 40 times a year if we're lucky. Yeah. We see them.
Kevin Durant came back from an Achilles tear.
So like I don't know. You balance it out, I guess.
Kawhi Leonard has degenerative knee issues too, Ron. Like, so my biggest example of this is not in the sport of the NBA. I've brought this up on here maybe once, but there are players like Gale Sayers. I don't know if you know who that is. Penn played running back, was a tremendous player. He tore his ACL, ended his career. This is decades ago. And so I think he even talked about like if this was a different era and he played in a different era of the NFL, his career would have been much different and much longer. And I think this is what it is. It's like the NBA, because medicine is so good now, players are able to play longer. But the problem is, you can't, once your body starts breaking, and maybe Penn, you're obviously in your 30s and stuff now. You know this. Once you get older, like Ron's older now, like I'm in my 30s. Once you get older and you start getting hurt more and more, it's really hard to get back to that original place that you used to be in. Your body just doesn't heal as naturally. So with all the science and stuff in the world, I do think that's why athletes are playing longer. But I mean, honestly, like we talk about this all the time. We joke about Jokic, playing until he's 35 because he wants to go race horses. But I mean, Embiid is going to be in the league probably still at 35 years old. Jokic is, maybe if he stays healthy, he's still going to be in a prime, an iteration of his prime at 35. Like Giannis, 35, he might not be this Giannis. But Penn, what if he's still all NBA level player at 35, right? Like, no. But I'm saying, like, but that's medicine. Like, that's the advance of science helping you to learn what your body needs and all that from your feet all the way to the top of your head. So I think maybe it's just that. It's just that players are playing longer and they're having to take more games off. Penn.
I think there's like two evolution charts that are happening at the same time. One is the evolution of the game, and the other is the evolution of training and sports science and medicine and all that stuff. And I have a feeling the game is outpacing science.
The game is just
I think what you hit on earlier in terms of what is the responsibility of a big, right? Like if you're 7 feet tall, what is your responsibility today? How much court do you have to cover? How does your body have to move? Is that natural at all? Offensively, defensively, the court is bigger. I know it's not bigger, but it's bigger in terms of how much we're actually moving around on the court. It's like, at least horizontal, like, laterally, you're moving so much more. Right. And I think that puts a lot of strain. And I think that, when I see Victor Wembanyama, specifically Victor Wembanyama, because I've been really, really dialed into his preparation for the NBA since he was 16, 17 years old, and how the French have basically handled this guy like a government project. You know what I mean? Like the amount of, and look at LeBron. We're talking like we hear it. Millions of dollars have gone into preserving his body. Well, now that the paychecks are getting this large, I feel like more stars need to start parking the LeBron cash into their bodies in order to be healthy.
Yeah, I hear what you guys are saying. I think you're just being extremely, highly disingenuous to the basketball in the 80s, 90s, 70s.
Excuse me?
Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell too. I'm like, I don't just think these guys are just moving so much more laterally than guys that actually play.
Did you see the athletes they were playing against at that time?
Oh my God. And then you guys that go to this.
I'm just asking a question.
Back in the day. Did you see the athlete Wilt Chamberlain was?
One athlete. What you talking about, Ron?
So what I'm talking about is Wilt Chamberlain wasn't the only athletic person. But aside from that, though, but hold on, wait. Aside from that, regardless of who they are playing against, you're going to be moving as fast as you possibly can up and down the court laterally. You're going to jump as high as you can. You're not just going to run slower because you're playing against slower people. You're going to move at your physical capacity regardless of what you're doing.
So Wilt Chamberlain was jumping out and guarding Jerry West at the perimeter, and he was switching back and come on now.
Was he not? So Wilt Chamberlain never guarded on the perimeter. Bill Russell never guarded.
Bill Russell did, but running up and down is not the same as sharp stops and cuts. It's not. It's not the same thing.
What you're trying to tell me is that Hakeem Olajuwon never guarded on the perimeter and made sharp cuts.
Why do you always do this excessive thing where someone says something and you go to the extreme? So this guy never did that. No one is saying they never did anything. No one's saying that. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself. What I'm saying, and I think Swipe is saying the same thing. The physical toll that today's game has, especially on the bigger human beings, the 7-foot human beings, is not comparable to what people had to do 30 years ago in terms of the sharp stops and cuts, the amount of ground that has to be covered. It's not comparable. Hakeem did step out and guard on the perimeter from time to time. He could do it. Hakeem is also someone who in today's game, I'd assume would also be quite healthy. He was light on his feet. He wasn't a true 7-footer. He was 6'10". He was extremely agile and nimble. So Hakeem is probably someone who even in today's game, I think would hold up quite well because of how his body was made up and because of how light he was on his feet. That does not mean
Mars,
that
can you answer?
Bigs in the 90s had as much on their body.
So he said Hakeem
that guys today have to do.
And then you would bring up Shaq. and then you would bring up Tim Duncan, and then you would bring up David Robinson. But
Hakeem
you're
was
also
not 7 foot. Sorry to the person in the chat. If you think Hakeem was 7 foot, then I don't.
But you're
That's
bringing up like 5 of the best big athletes ever that are also still anomalies historically.
I get that. The point
including Patrick Ewing.
They weren't the only players in the NBA though. The point I'm trying to make is guys today aren't moving so much more than guys back then.
I'm gonna give you a couple names, and you tell me what they be in the NBA.
It's about what movements you're doing.
Greg Ostertag.
Now all of a sudden they made up.
What would Greg Ostertag be?
Nothing.
It's not new movements. It's about what you have to do to play in today's NBA.
So they didn't have to rotate around the perimeter
in the NBA.
Not to the same degree. No, they didn't. Okay. Like, are we stupid? Like, we know the game is more spaced out today. We know that. So me saying that you have more ground to cover today is not a foreign concept. But you go watch a game from the 90s, the big is moving from block to block.
They're not just moving from block to block.
Do you know you can watch the 1990 NBA Finals? Do you know you can watch the finals?
Watch the game.
Yes. Okay. You still have
you seen what Jordan them look like on the court?
To the corner and them coming to protect the rim. If he plays, you
can go watch the opening set.
Deep, and he might show his hands and he's rotating back to the block. Like, it's not a hard concept to see that these guys don't have to move as much.
Oh, and the point I'm trying to make is they still had to move. I'm not about.
Yeah, and no one's saying they did just stood still. No one's saying that.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Penn is talking about you have to do so much more exaggerated movements and this, that, and the third. I'm like, basketball is basketball. What? You still have to move laterally. You still have to box out. You still have to close out. You still have to run up and down the court.
When you played in high school, did you play against more athletes in college than you did when you were in high school?
In college than in high school?
Yeah.
Yes, the athletes in college were more advanced than in high school. Yes.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because
I'm asking you why.
Because the best athletes in high school went to college.
Okay, and then as they got older, typically you get better. Like, that's typically how that works.
Okay, but then you're about to try to run an evolution.
No, but you're also acknowledging that there's something about time and development that does enhance what we do as athletes. Now, we start peaking in our 20s and we start peaking out of that in our 30s. We understand that. But you realize over time, if you span the cross of 30 or 40 years and you have athletes that are doing the same thing, all trying to get advantages on each other, they're all going to be working on very like the things that on the margins that make you better and make you stronger and make you faster, make you jump higher, make you a more intelligent player, or get you more advantage in space. We all did that in football, but guess what? Kids now are even better at it than we were in 2012. So like this is just how human progression goes as well. What I'm saying is also, I want to be clear about this. Bird left his career early because of back injury. Did he not, Ron?
Yeah.
Magic Johnson left his career early because of things that happened to him off the court, and he had a sickness. There are other players that had shorter careers because of injuries. What I'm saying is that now older players that are in their 30s are probably playing more and still playing because we have more medicine and more science to be able to help them to stabilize their injuries than we did previously. So I think we're missing a lot more games. I don't think you're trying to say the NBA is softer. I don't think you're trying to say players are softer than they were 20 years ago. I don't know.
I never mentioned that. Only thing I was fighting on is just Penn saying that players have to do so much more exaggerated movements today. The point I was making is basketball is basketball. Big men had to guard on the perimeter. Big men had to move their feet. Big men closed out. And Mars, you could say the game's more spaced out. Cool. But the point I'm trying to make is it's the same movements that they were doing in the 90s as today.
Not because you got to move.
And also
move defensively.
And also too, the game was more physical back then. So maybe it was more going on. It was more rustling and tussling back in the 90s, 80s, and 70s than it is today.
Sort of a
taking
myth.
Bumps and bruises is different to this type.
Okay, and so that's what I'm saying. Maybe back then it was more. Maybe you had a chance to get injured more back then than you have now.
It's a different impact on your body. A bruise is different to wear and tear on your ligaments. It's different. Like, yes, you can, if you want to say it was more physical back then because you were getting bumped through the lane and you were tussling for position in the post or for box outs, all of that, that's cool. I can even accept that because there are way more box outs back then than there are today, for example. That is fine. But what that does to your body is very different to what you're being asked to do from a big man perspective in today's NBA. Very different in terms of the physical toll it takes on your body. Now, it's still physical. Both of them are physical, but one has a lot more long-term ramifications than you leave a game, I'm a bit bruised. Like, it's different. Still physical, but different. That's what I'm saying.
I think we isolate like one player getting smacked to the floor or something like that and just say the game was so much more physical back then. Also, I think it doesn't help that you have a whole bunch of OGs who come out and say, oh, the game was more physical in my day. But the game is plenty physical today. It's
I'm not
plenty
saying
physical.
it's not.
I
But,
do want
like,
I do want to point out to something though, because I think that this is something that, you know, it's a pretty abstract concept, but I do think that it's worth noting. We can agree that basketball has grown year over year, almost every single year, like clockwork over the last 55 to 60 years, right? We can agree that more people play basketball almost every single year. It is the fastest growing sport in the world. Can we agree on that? We all agree on that, yeah?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but maybe that or soccer, probably. I imagine.
Well, soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but in terms of growth, like year over year, percentage growth, I would say is basketball. I think the evolution of the game has really, you know, gone international. There's so many more players, you know, in China that are playing basketball, so many more players in South America playing basketball, largely due to the stars that have come from there. I want to point out to the world population argument, because this is a good argument. Do you know what the world population was when Bill Russell was born?
5 million people.
Nope.
4? No,
Nope.
higher.
How many
It
are we
was
at
lower.
now? How many are we at? We're like
It was
8 million people?
lower.
No.
So
Yeah, eight something.
So Bill Russell was born in 1934. Okay.
Yeah, that's
19 friggin' 34. And the population in 1934 was under 2.5 billion people.
It's a lot of people wrong.
It is a lot of people. But the population when Cade Cunningham was born, I'm going to say Cade Cunningham so the chat can't accuse me of hating and calling on Scotty Barnes.
2002?
2001. 6.2 billion people. That's almost three times as many people in the world played basketball when Cade was born. And the pool of those people, the percentage of those people on Earth that not only can access a basketball hoop because of the growth of the game all over the world, but also are interested in even playing basketball because of the growth of the game is so much higher. So when you do end up becoming a professional athlete in basketball, I would say that the pool that you're drawing from, or, you know, this is the 450 best. 450 best of what? Right? If you wipe out half the world's population, every sport gets worse because you're pooling from a smaller amount of people. So when you grow the population by 3 times as much, and because defense is always reacting to offense, the percentage of those players that are actually, you know, professional athletes, even if you expand the league and grow the league and have so many more players, the percentage of those players that are actually going to be athletic specimens or freak athletes like a Bill Russell, like a Michael Jordan, that goes up. And now defense has to react to that. So yes, you're guarding way better players today than you were guarding 30 years ago. And guarding better players is going to put a more strain on your body. The league is also bigger. It's more athletic.
Well, why are you such a skeptic here? What do you think the actual issue is? What do you think it is?
The actual issue with what?
Why players aren't playing more or playing as much? Like you seem to be pushing back against all the arguments.
The only thing I'm pushing back is that players are just far more superior, far more athletic, far more this, far more that. The game is just so much harder and yada, yada, yada. I played basketball in the 90s. I played basketball in the 2000s. I played basketball in the 10s. I play basketball today. It's not harder to play basketball today than it was back then. But in terms of what you're saying, in terms of just medicine and all of that advancing and stuff like that, I agree with you. Medicine has advanced. Just the way that players can get taken care of, that has advanced. And I do think part of it is preventative measurements. Like we have investments in these players, Zions, Embiids, ADs, things of that nature, Lucas, LeBrons. We don't want you guys to come out here and play 82 games. What's the point of us having you play 82 games, 40 minutes a night, trying to put all this stress in your body? What are we trying to prove? We are trying to extend your career. We are trying to get the most out of our investment, and we're trying to win the most. I get that, and I understand that, and that's actually.
Do you think money has become the biggest influencer, like in that long-term, like more long-term value focus in an athlete's body than previous iterations of the NBA, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, part of that is because, like, you know, we've seen players go down. We've seen Larry Bird go down. We've seen players do too much and in their career, just because it was like, why are you playing through this injury? And then on top of that, we just learned from, not only have we learned from just, I guess you could say, the stupidity of running players into the ground, but we've learned also from the injuries that they went through and how basically you can just counter those injuries and how you can not do the wrong things when it comes to those injuries. So, I mean, I agree with all of that.
There's a lot of people in the world. 8 million people in the world now. Around 8.06 to be exact. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, someone asked if the population growth of America specifically, it's about 3 times as much from 1930. It's like 123 million people in 1930, and it's 330 million people in 2020. So it's about 3 times as much.
But y'all, I want to get back to just the injuries that have happened this season and how you guys because I didn't necessarily want it to turn into us comparing previous eras or previous seasons. Mars was right. It's injuries that happen every season. Like, we can't. That's the inevitability of basketball. People are going to get hurt. You're going to have season-ending injuries. But I more so wanted to just look at this season in a lens and see how the certain injuries that have happened have affected this season.
Okay. There's a stat for cash total per days missed. So basically how much salary you're missing. The Philadelphia 76ers have missed $58.6 million worth of games per player pay this year. The Pelicans have missed 55.5 million. The Toronto Raptors have missed 48.5 million. The Dallas Mavericks have missed 45 million. Brooklyn's missed 41 million. Portland's missed 38 million. You know what all those teams have in common? They're all lottery teams right now. Basically, of the 10 teams that have missed the most money off their books, Utah, Washington, Clippers are the only team. So it's Philly, Pelicans, Raptors, Mavericks, Nets, Blazers, Hornets, Clippers, Washington, Utah. Among those 10 teams, only the Clippers are currently in the play-in.
Who has the least missed? Are those all playoff teams?
That's a really, really good question. It's actually Miami. Miami has the least.
Yeah, they're just mid. We understand that.
11.1. Detroit is number 2 in terms of the healthiest teams. So these are the healthiest teams in the league: Miami, Detroit, Sacramento, San Antonio, Indiana. And San Antonio, let's just be real, it's largely because Victor Wembanyama is still on his rookie deal. If he was a super max player or something like that, that number would be higher. Indiana, Minnesota, Houston, Cleveland, New York, Denver at 21, and Chicago at 20. Ironically, those teams are a lot better than the other teams. So yeah, injuries have had a huge impact on the season.
And the Suns just suck. No, that's what I got for that. Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know if like injuries are going to affect really the outcome of the season. Like, we can't project injuries in the postseason, but like the biggest legit contenders all seem to be quite healthy. So as long as they're healthy, I don't think it's going to change the outcome of who's going to win the title, which I guess is always cool. Like, at least if
could the Thunder win if J-Dub's not 100%? Could those second units without Shea?
I doubt it, but this is off the assumption that I assume J-Dub will be back by then. If he's not, then I guess a contender is losing out. But I'd assume he'll be back.
Because they can't lose him like KP with the Celtics last year.
No. Boston had the largest margin for error of any team in the NBA last season and this season, in my opinion. OKC don't have that same type of margin where they could lose their third best player and go on a title run. I don't think they could anyway. But maybe they could. If they do, then they shout to OKC. But I don't think they could.
Do we know how long J-Dub's supposed to be out for?
It's a hip injury. So see, that's the thing. Like, the hips are, because a hip injury is like a bruise, but a bruise, like, you can crack your hip fairly easily depending on how you land, and you just have to be really careful with that. So it's just, I think for him, if it's a bruised hip, it's just like you have to get that pain management, and you got to make sure it heals up as properly as possible, because you just don't want that lingering on you, because that changes the way you walk. I don't know if any of y'all ever hurt your hip before, but like, that junk can throw you can throw you off like completely because it's everything. Your body, everything from your back to your hips to your waistline, like a hernia, Mars, like a hip injury, back injury, lower back injuries, all that stuff is, that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, and looking at all the playoff teams, obviously Jalen Brunson's hurt right now, but I'm assuming that he's going to be back in time and more than enough time. But looking at all the playoff teams in the East, the only two teams that are facing a significant injuries are play-in teams. So you have the Orlando Magic, Jalen Suggs, Mo Wagner, and then you have the Atlanta Hawks with Jalen Johnson. And then out west, aside from J-Dub,
we don't know what the Steph injury is going to be.
So Steph did get hurt last night. It looked like it was just a tailbone, though.
Yeah, he tried to come back in the game, so hopefully it's not that bad. I mean, the only one, Aaron Gordon has had that calf injury all year. That's probably the biggest question, I think, of like a rotation player and somebody in the top, maybe let's say among like the 6 best teams in the league or something like that. Now OG is always an injury concern with the Knicks for obvious reasons. I don't think the Patriots have anything they got to worry about right now. Jackson's
they're being very precautionary with Tyrese Halliburton, but
right.
I don't think he's hurt. I don't know, but
it doesn't help that Andrew Nembhard just keeps getting ejected from these games, though.
Hey man, he got that dog in him. I don't know what to tell you. He just, you know what I'm saying?
He's climbing up that technical ladder, bro.
Anthony Edwards has the most techs, right? I think
he by a very narrow margin. You got to understand, my youth was Rasheed Wallace, so 17 is soft. But
yeah, you miss a game because of text. I think that's a lot of text.
Good, yeah. You get is 16. You get.
Yeah, he's already been suspended.
Oh yeah, he has 17. Dylan Brooks has 15. Isaiah. So think about this. Do these sound like the crash outs of the NBA? Man, that's actually interesting. Anthony Edwards 17, Dylan Brooks 15, Isaiah Stewart 13, Trae Young 12. KCP 12. He definitely is a yapper. Draymond Green 12. Jason Tatum has 11. He has more than Luka this year.
Well, Luka games played.
Yeah.
On a game-to-game basis, I'd assume Luka still gets a lot of text.
It's
either you're one of them, questionable individuals, or you just argue about how many times you think you got fouled. That seems to be determinant.
But I feel like most people would be pretty surprised to find out that Andrew Nembhard has worked his way into the top 20. That's pretty impressive.
Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Dylan Brooks. I think Ime Udoka must have the most text for a coach. It seems like he's getting a tech like every other game.
But he does yap a lot. That is true.
Yeah, he be going crazy. He don't think we've ever committed a foul. But
who went at the refs the other day? Was that JB Bickerstaff? But did Taylor Jenkins have one of those refs this year too?
Taylor Jenkins do be getting animated on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Malone began animated from time to time.
Yeah, he has to though. He has to.
Steve Kerr
because Jokic's not going to say anything.
Steve Kerr had a moment this year. For sure.
Yeah, Steve Kerr. Kirby getting red in the face.
Yeah, sorry, we were rambling. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, it's about my time to ramble about a beautiful app called PrizePicks, where if you use the promo code panel, you can get $50 back instantly in promo funds when you play just $5. Yes, on PrizePicks, you pick 2 or more players. You pick more or less on their player projections, and you get your money. It's very simple. It's very easy, and we are going to show you how to do it right now. Big Ox, we cooking up right now, right?
Yeah.
Wait, Big Ox. Can you
no Jaylen Green less?
Can you go to Kevin Durant and not take the Goblin, please? And thank you. That's KD. If anything, we need to take the Demon, but
it's Phoenix against Cleveland.
And it's Kevin Durant. No, it's Kevin Durant against Cleveland.
He's not getting more than 27 tonight. I can tell you that much.
I think
you might want to go Goblin on that one.
It's 24 and a half. Come on, yo. Come on.
That's it. Stay there.
Easy
right
money
there.
sniper.
Stay right there.
That's what we take.
It's Evan Mobley.
It might be a blowout by third quarter though. That's why it's so low.
KD sweating Evan.
The picks are the picks.
He shouldn't. Yeah, that dude shouldn't.
And I mean, what would KD be? What's KD worried about? It's not. I mean, Kawhi just cooked Evan Mobley. DeMar DeRozan just cooked Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley's awfully cookable.
All right. Well, we got Shea getting less than 7 assists tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. I think that's pretty reasonable. We got Alexander Sarr, the Frenchman, with so much defensive potential, getting 1.5, well, more than 1.5 blocks and steals, stocks. Amen Thompson, rebounds and assists. I like that. More than 10.5. Allen Horford, big Dominican, 17.5 PRA against Utah. All right, we'll take it. And last but not least, Kevin Durant, 24.5 points. We're going to take the more on that, too. That's easy money sniper. We got him getting buckets. Yo, what's your reasoning behind Al Horford? And Thompson?
Well, I'll start with Amen Thompson. I mean, rebound and assist, 10.5 points. He's like a utility guy. That's coming easy. Al Horford, 17.5 rebounds, points, and assists. I think that's kind of disrespectful to Al Horford. That's a walk in the park, especially
all right.
Utah.
Cool. Well, we go take that and go to the bank with it. What does $20 turn into?
300.
What does 50 turn into? Yeah, baby. Run that big ox. Let's get that money, man. Let's get this money.
No Jaylen Green. That's just crazy.
Is your somber demeanor this morning, does it have anything to do with what happened with the Sacramento Kings and the Chicago Bulls last night?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, who sent that? Who was it who sent that super chat yesterday?
I said Kevin Huerter.
About Kevin Huerter. Who said that?
I don't know, but I gotta tell you,
Kevin Huerter has had 25 points since the 23 season. So fuck that guy.
Surely you knew vengeance was coming your way, right?
You
know vengeance is undefeated.
Right. I just wasn't thinking about Kevin Huerter as a threat anymore since he hasn't been a threat since 2022. Like literally since December of that season, Kevin Huerter hasn't done shit for anybody.
Shout out Kevin Huerter, 25 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. Kevin Huerter decided to play some defense last night. Shout out the kid. And also Nikola Vucevic, 24 points and 14 rebounds. God damn. And Kobe White, 35 points. Oof.
Ron, this is really serious. Okay.
What's serious?
It's very serious. There's a missing person. It's a missing person in Sacramento. We need to find him. His name is Zach Levine. Yeah, we need to find him. Yeah, he's been missing. He's been missing for a month. Don't know where he's at.
And Mars, apparently Austin Reaves is better than Malik Monk. So.
I mean,
that could go both ways. We gonna play that. If we gonna play that game, we gonna go both ways with it.
We gotta respect Malik Monk. Malik putting like the Sacramento Kings on his back and saying, "I'm leading this shit." He looked at Zach Levine. He took Zach Levine. He took DeMar DeRozan in the back, and he's like, "Hey, look at me. I'm the captain now." So he got it.
Ox, you know when Sabonis is supposed to be back? Speaking of injuries.
No, they said give him 10 days, but for him, 10 days is more like 6, 5. He'll be all right.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope to see Sabonis back soon, and everybody else that has an injury that is not season-ending, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry. Fellas, I'm hopeful for a healthy playoff run.
Yeah, I think Steph's all. I think he might have bruised his tailbone or something.
He did something. He did something similar.
He clearly didn't break it. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna try to play after you break your tailbone, so it's not broken. So
I don't think he fell. He didn't fall high enough to break his tailbone. He barely even got off the ground.
You'll be surprised. It's a lot about how you land on your tailbone as opposed to the distance you land from. Your tailbone is one of those funny things. So the way he popped like this, like it was like he was instantly hurt. I was concerned, but I think he'll be okay.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, if it is what he went through in 2021, I think he ended up missing maybe 6 games. I think something like that when it happened to him in 2021. So if it's to that degree, then he should be all right. See him in the postseason wherever the Warriors.
I mean, he's not old enough for osteoporosis, right? So he'll be all right.
Tailbones are interesting parts of the anatomy, by the way. The reason we still have them is crazy. But yeah, if you fall on them things, that junk can hurt.
Yeah, y'all protect your tailbones. For real. But either way it goes, this weekend we have some interesting things happening. Starting tonight on Playback, y'all. Speaking of Jaylen Green and we were supposed to.
I tried.
Oops. Oh, don't worry, Mars. We will be parlay watching tonight. So you guys just got to pull up to the show to see what parlay we got going on. Obviously, Mars is going to go less with Jaylen Green. I'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. But we are going to be on Playback tonight on the main stage. Y'all pull up tonight to watch the Rockets versus the Heat. Maybe the Heat can get things going again tonight. Maybe Bam can get back to who he's been. Maybe Tyler Hero can get his get back on Amin Thompson. Or maybe the Rockets, being the second best team in the West, can continue their 8-game winning streak tonight. Second best team in the West.
Facts.
Did I say something wrong?
Facts.
Well, either way it goes, a streak has to be broke tonight because the Miami Heat are on a 9-game losing streak and the Rockets are on an 8-game winning streak. So something has to happen.
Yo, swipe it. If Tyler Hero gives Amin Thompson over 31, can you drop the hard R?
Hard R of what?
Mina.
No, I don't. Can you give me some further explanation?
Nico.
Ask for respect.
Yeah.
Oh, respect?
Can you ask for respect?
Yeah, he can ask for as much of that as he wants.
I mean, Amin Thompson not going for that. We made sure that we recovered from that ankle.
Didn't they lose that game when Amin did that?
I will.
So he has the game circled on his calendar, Mars.
Yeah, the timeline for recovering from that injury was right in time for the Heat game. We know what we're doing.
Honestly, both these teams tonight that we're watching here are hella disappointing over the last couple of weeks. But I'll guarantee you, the Rockets win this game.
How are we disappointed? How are we disappointed?
I don't know. Just losing a whole bunch of games and being close in a lot of games that you shouldn't.
Yeah, winning 8 straight, we losing too much. Damn. What do you want from us? We ain't lost in like 2 weeks.
Nah, Mars, I'm supposed to win more.
Hey,
y'all supposed to do better.
When you
supposed to be our schedule, like, what you want?
When you
who have you beaten this 8-game win streak?
Yeah, exactly, Mars.
We beat the Sixers. We beat Quentin Grimes.
Hang on. Did you?
Okay.
Because when you win like that, it's basically like you lost.
We won. We just beat Orlando. We beat Philly.
First of all, I
beat
think
Phoenix. We beat the Pelicans twice. Like,
oh my God.
There's a law in basketball that if you need overtime to beat a Quentin Grimes led team, you actually count that as a loss. It's not a
March.
Quentin Grimes has 46.
No such thing in March. Go ahead.
Quentin Grimes has 46. I don't know
who else was on there.
Well, I don't know our exact schedule. We just beat Orlando. We beat Philly the game before that. Then we beat the Bulls. We beat the Pels twice to start the streak. I think we beat the Mavs. We beat the Suns.
So nobody. I got you. Right.
Yeah, we just beat.
But it's March. Yeah, it's March. Nothing matters right now. It's March.
Yeah, we beat who's in front of us.
Speaking of March, Swiper, did anybody?
Oh, by the way, happy Women's History Month. Shout out LeBron. Shout out LeBron.
What the hell?
For women's history, shout out Savannah.
Speaking. Shout out Savannah.
Are y'all okay?
Wait. Hold on. But speaking of March and speaking of women, did anybody watch that UW versus Columbia game yesterday?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, that was a hell of a basketball game. Columbia, the execution to a T. It was beautiful basketball. Y'all really
can we just go around the room and shout out one woman that we would actually like to shout out for Women's History Month? Can we just do that? And please, Lord, let me not hear LeBron's name.
Well, it's a throwback. It's a throwback to the meme. You got to be online enough, Pen. You know what I'm talking about. Relax, Pen.
I'm too old.
You're not that old. You're really not that old. We're all about the same age, except for Mars. But go ahead.
Who's our resident 15-year-old? I'm gonna shout out Angel Reese. For my Women's History Month.
Good.
Nice.
Great basketball player, great defender. And I'm gonna be honest, I've watched a lot of WNBA in my life, but I've never been locked in to women's hoops until she did this shit to Caitlin Clark. When she did that, I was like, let's go LSU. And I have been locked into the women's game ever since. I don't think I would be into this as much if she was not like the main storyline for me. Her and Flage at LSU, that was the gateway drug for me. So,
Mars,
yeah.
Is there a woman you would like to shout out for for this beautiful month.
Mars, just be honest for 15
Shout
seconds.
out to Caitlyn Jenner.
God damn. All right, y'all. The beautiful part of March is that not only is it the tournament, which we're going to get into some of those things. Not only are we going to get into some of those things, but also due to it being March and the tournament just dropping, we have a beautiful video dropping this Saturday, episode 4 of the Parlay.
Yo, what y'all doing to Mars's face? Some AI generated shit.
And these two will be debating a 16 seed that can get taken to the NCAA championship game and win it. Mars and ZZ both had to choose a player. Well, you're just going to have to watch it to see who Mars and ZZ chose. And believe me when I tell you, this debate was probably better than this debate. But if you haven't seen this debate, go ahead and check out episode 3. But just so you know, episode 4 will be dropping tomorrow. Speaking of March Madness.
I don't want to do to our face. Our looks a little lighter. Go ahead.
Speaking of March Madness, you guys know who's going to be playing against each other tomorrow?
Thank you.
Rick Pitino and Calipari, the godfathers of college hoops. They both won last night, round of 64. Shout out to those two.
You're not going to talk about how Calipari cooked Bill Self? It's not like...
We can talk about it. How'd he cook him?
I'm not talking about how. I'm just saying you're just gonna go skip straight to Pitino and Calipari, which is dope, of course. Shout out to Rick Pitino. But I'm saying he did have to get through Bill Selford.
Yeah, well, Arkansas knocked off Kansas. Shout out St. John's. They got a win last night, too. And now these two, who were former coaches, will be playing against each other. They obviously are storied coaches. You can see right here. Rick Pitino, 884 career wins, which is 5th all time, 7 Final Four appearances, and 2 natties. And then you got John Calipari. He's 9th all time in wins with 875, 6 Final Four appearances, and 1 national championship. And this is a picture of them coaching together. Or I don't know if they were coaching together at this time, but it's a picture of them together. Shout out to these two.
Old as hell. God damn.
Is it any games that you guys are looking forward to today?
In college basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know who's playing other than Rick Pitino and Calipari, I guess.
Are we done shouting out women?
No.
So, yeah, the most NCAA tournament meetings by a coach is John Calipari and Rick Pitino with 5. Coach K and Tom Izzo have 6. Bill Self, Roy Williams, they have 5. So, once again, this is a storied matchup coming up tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to Duke today. Cooper Flag playing.
Ox, what'd you think about McNeese yesterday?
I didn't watch.
Anybody, Ron, did you watch that?
I strictly watched women yesterday.
Okay, well, McNeese got their first win ever in NCAA tournament, I believe.
Yeah.
So
they
beat
nice.
Clemson. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Oricon. For real.
Yeah. And by the way, the head coach for McNeese just took the NC State job, by the way.
And the funny thing is, NC State and Clemson, they in the same conference. They knocked off Clemson. So basically, he's like, y'all gonna have to see.
Do you think they put the offer in after the win? Like how do you think, or something that was already on the table?
I think it was probably after the season, after they won their conference championship. They probably put an offer. But I don't like that, bro. Like wait until the season's over. Wait until they finish with the tournament. At least wait for that to announce it. And obviously somebody probably leaked it, but I just think that's nasty.
Well, you see what Jay Billis said. Because he basically was addressing. He said on Twitter, "Remember, the coaches portal is always open. Funny how nobody complains about loyalty or tampering. That's reserved for players only." And Ox, you probably remember this in the football days. Remember when Coach Saban was at LSU, and then the very next year took the job at Alabama, and this was in the same conference. And they obviously had played each other the year before. And LSU was really good, and then that was before there was a player portal where if a player were to transfer from D1 to D1, you had to sit out a year. If a player transferred from conference to conference, you had to sit out 2 years. And so this was at the heyday of all that stuff. So coaches have always kind of had this thing where they can just do whatever they want, and players are just now getting the freedom to be able to do that for the most part. But I think it's interesting. But I think the thing is, Ron, he probably has to accept it and become an announce, or else they probably would have rescinded the job and tried to give it to someone else. And so, I can imagine why they did that. But I think as a McNeese player, that probably will feel a little weird.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to figure things out, especially like in what used to be the amateur sports area.
Right.
You have to figure things out, and they overcompensated with the portal. You know what I mean? They overcompensated 100%.
What do you feel like the rule should be?
I
don't
have the answers, bro. I don't have the answers. It's going to.
Well, did y'all have to? So when in March, just for context, when we had our scholarship, full scholarship for D1 school, you had to sign your scholarship every summer. Like they could rescind it.
They could take your scholarship, which is
even though it was a 4-year guaranteed scholarship, right? They had the power to rescind your scholarship for any reason they would.
Doesn't sound very guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. It's not 4-year guaranteed. It's a year by year thing.
Yeah, you had to
just go get your degree in 1 year, then you chill.
Oh, good luck.
Well,
good luck,
just hold up your end of the bargain.
Yeah,
So, but it's rare. It's rare. It doesn't happen a lot though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
one thing I do like about today's game, and one reason why I don't really have, I do have a problem with them leaking it, but I don't have a problem with the McNeese State coach going over to NC State. And the cool thing about kind of what a lot of transfer coaches do right now is they're bringing their players with them. Like you've seen, what coach was that went? They transferred came from a D2 school, and he damn near brought his whole team with him.
That'd be dope though.
Coach? I can't remember what college coach it is, but some coach transferred from D2 and brought basically his whole D2 roster. And they actually were doing a lot of winning. But nowadays you see a lot of coaches do that. Like UW's coach right now, Danny Sprinkle, he brought with him the whole basically UNR team with them. Well, that's a cool thing. Like you see coaches being loyal to their players.
And to that point, when I was in college, I was at my school. Our program went to the NCAA tournament. They actually played Kawhi in them in 2011. And then our coach, that same run, got an offer to an even bigger school and then left right away and took one of the players with him and stuff as well. So, this has been around for, about a decade and a half now where people were doing that. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the portal thing. I really don't know what people are going to do because this whole thing with the Texas quarterback transferring down to Miami and getting that bag that he got, the amount of money players are getting to, step into some of these schools and, it's $6, $8, $10 million to do it. And so a lot of people are incentivized not even to go to the pros. Go ahead.
College is fire low with this. I'm not a big fan of it, but when you think about it, the NCAA is basically a big ass free agency pool every single summer. Imagine everybody in the NBA being a free agent every summer. It's a bidding war every summer.
I'm very clearly a casual because what is the problem?
Yeah, Georgia. Well, it's just a lot of people. So the big issue, because we're talking about NCAA, so everybody in the chat, fan out. The reason why for some people it's a big issue, they considered Ox and Ron and I. They called us student athletes. We were amateur athletes for years, up until about 6 years ago now, whenever they introduced the NIL and all that stuff.
I think it was even less than that. I think it's
maybe 4.
It's 3-4.
Yeah.
3-4.
So up to that time, Mars, we couldn't get anything. We got scholarship money. And if you needed Pell Grant money for the summer, because what they didn't tell you is scholarships last for 10 months out of the year. From June to July, you don't get your scholarship money. So I had to get a Pell Grant in the summer to cover for that stuff.
We were basically broke college students, Mars.
Yeah, 100%. You didn't get any of that. And so we were playing national television. You're traveling. It's you get a lot of benefits. But the problem is the NCAA had it written in their rules that you could not profit off your own likeness. So you couldn't show jewelry, couldn't sell T-shirts, couldn't do anything. Y'all, I don't know if y'all remember, Todd Gurley was signing autographs and he was selling them, and he got suspended. Oxford, for half the season, or
I can't remember how long, but I remember when that happened though.
And then remember Terrell Pryor. Terrell Pryor was selling his stuff he won in the Rose Bowl because he needed more money. He got suspended for a whole year. Johnny Manziel was selling stuff, even though he was the most profitable athlete in sports for a year, basically.
I think one documentary that really, really pointed this out was the Fab Five documentary, where they talked about all that stuff, right?
Yeah, Jalen Rose. I don't remember.
Chris Webber.
Taking money from boosters and stuff.
Chris Webber. Yeah.
Yep. All that stuff. And then even the Ohio. Remember, bruh, what was the old? Y'all see this? I wish we were more football people. Remember Ohio State's head coach? he ended up getting somebody a car because they needed whips, and everything got shut down. What year was that? And somebody in the chat remembers that. That was like 2009, where they had to get rid of all their victories and everything. And the biggest one, Mars, was Reggie Bush. I don't know if you know who Reggie Bush is. Reggie Bush got $250,000 in like 2002, 3 to buy a house and all that. Jim Tessel, thank y'all, Jim Tessel. And they took away all the USC wins, the national championship, and his Heisman because he was getting that money. And Maurice Claret, that's who it was. So this is what I'm saying. Like, Mars, this used to be like you couldn't get $1. Like when
it was
we
a scandal.
couldn't.
That sounds like that was the problem.
Well, yes, there's a couple problems. There's a problem there, and there's a problem now. What I do want to say is, Piper, there definitely should have always been compensation. Always should have been some more compensation, because I will say, because you know what I'm saying. I mean, your degree is very valuable. You know what I'm saying. Your education at these schools is very valuable if you're taking advantage of it. A lot of us didn't take advantage, and a lot of us still aren't taking advantage. So I don't want to say that anybody played for free if you took advantage of the education you were getting. With that being said, there should have always been more compensation. Always should have been more.
But the thing is, like,
because the money that these kids are bringing to these universities is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So but with that being said, I mean, you're going to schools where your education is costing it's costing other students $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a semester. You know what I mean? So it's not free. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not just getting nothing. It's not slavery.
I mean, but the issue is, though, what they don't tell people, though, is Mars, that's a little bit insider. When you go to these bigger schools, Mars, what they do to freshmen, they sit them down and they tell them that you can't have certain degrees because it probably takes too much of your time away from the sport. So literally academic providers will tell you can go in for a rec degree, communications degree, or something of a lower tier because it gives you more access and more time to focus on football and basketball in particular. So they convince kids to get these lower tier degrees, and then they end up going through college for 5 years, coming out with one communication degree because they wanted to prioritize sports. So that's why I disagree with Ox a little bit. Like, the education isn't free because you got to work for it, and then you got to earn your scholarship every year. Right. It's all the stuff you got, the appearances you got to do, summer practices, summer conditioning, the early mornings, the late nights, the traveling. And you don't get a lot of teachers don't work with you. They don't work with you. Like, they don't have to. There's no incentive for professors to be like, oh yeah, you got a game on Saturday in Utah, and you got to travel Friday afternoon. But a lot of professors do too, though. You know, what I'm saying? Like, you're right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what situation you go to. How serious are you about your education? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, how serious are you about your education? With that being said, these are kids, though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, it's easy to manipulate when you're doing that, but there's a small group of people that are going to the pros. So if you're prioritizing that, and you're not going to the pros, like you're there, you're supposed to take advantage of your education, take advantage of your scholarship. So I mean, but you hear that a lot, though. It's not like that's something hidden. It's not like anybody's at that point. Nobody was trying to hide the education part from you. Like, take advantage of this. You know what I'm saying? So while I do agree with you, still, I 100% agree that there should have been some type of compensation, and it could be worked out. However, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, there needs to be compensation. I'd rather them overcompensate or do anything, give them too much or whatever. However people feel, I'd much rather it be this way than what it was. But there still has to find some middle ground. You know what I mean? Still got to find some middle ground. And I don't know. I think they'll figure it out. But I'm just happy kids are getting paid. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still not coming off of the fact that education is not free, and it's on you to take advantage of that.
You're right. We've had this conversation before too. You are right. Education does cost. A normal kid,
it costs a lot.
Athlete,
formal education is not free. Education is free.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about this.
The degree is not free.
Yes,
but education is free.
Pim, what I'm saying is, like, there's colleges, like good schools. You know what I'm saying? These are good schools. Kids are these. I'm talking about $50,000 a semester.
Cal Berkeley,
education,
Stanford,
you know what I'm saying?
Baylor,
PCLA.
Yeah, I know.
My bad, Swiper, Baylor. These schools do cost, and you are right. We've had this conversation before. But my thing is to give 12 elite athletes a scholarship that doesn't cost that university nothing. So
they
like,
make more money. They're making more money than they're losing.
making
Yeah,
Of
hand
course,
over
of
fist
course,
more
of
money. Like,
course they
So
are.
they got
into-
all these programs, all these classes. It don't take nothing to put 12 kids in classes. Like,
So
the
when I-
university,
but
they're
it
not lifting a
depends.
finger to do that.
And
So
it
when
also
I- when-
depends on what school we're talking about. There are some schools that, for instance, don't have football teams, but there are schools that do have football teams. And you telling me there's some programs that are not making that
well,
money.
most don't. Most
Yeah, but
don't.
they're still not losing money, though.
There's schools where the football team is paying for the women's basketball, the women's soccer, softball, and men's golf. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like everybody ain't carrying their own weight. You know what I mean?
And it doesn't make any money everywhere for the most part. Go ahead.
Most sports aren't carrying their own weight. So yes, you are getting over.
I do want to say this though. I just read this yesterday that each team that plays a game in the NCAA tournament makes either they make around 2 million or they're getting exactly 2 million from the NCAA. I don't know exactly which one it is, but 2 million was the worth of each team playing the game in the NCAA tournament. So once again, these NCAA teams are profiting.
Shoot, Mars, if we made 10,000, matter of fact, jump in here because go ahead.
Yeah, like I mean, I obviously, like when I was younger, one of my, I want to say role models, heroes, whatever. My dad wasn't around, so I was trying to piece together like what does it mean to be a man in this world, right? And one of those players was Vince Carter. Actually, Vince Carter was a huge, I want to say a community leader in Toronto. I thought, he was very upstanding. He was great. And there was this big moment before the playoffs against Philly where he decided to attend his college graduation because he made a promise to his mother that he was going to collect his degree. And he's like, it was on the same day as Game 7. And the media here ripped him. Like, how dare you do this? How dare you do that? And I remember him doing that. And it was a very formative sort of experience as a child to watch somebody do that, because you see him celebrating with his classmates. And Vince actually earned a degree in African-American studies from North Carolina. So, and later on, when I was kind of declining in high school and, I had a lot of sports commitments. I was playing 4 sports, plus I was working, trying to get myself out of poverty. And then, my studies started to fall off. And then I pulled together my grades in grade 11 and 12, wrote my SATs, got into Cornell, couldn't go, too much money. Like, I didn't, so I ended up having to stay.
And you got into Cornell?
I did.
That's fire. Yeah, I was about to go to Cornell, but then MIT had hit me up and I almost had a scholarship there, but then I decided to go to junior college to play basketball.
So you almost went to a worse school? Never mind. Go ahead, Ben.
No,
it's about the best fit for you. I ultimately did end up going to a worse school because I went to a junior college. Thank you, Swiper.
No. I'm talking about MIT.
Go ahead,
Cornell.
go ahead.
That's an inside.
But I ended up staying at U of T, and in my second year, my mom passed away. Right in my second year, I was doing really well, and I really thought about dropping out. But then I remembered Vince, and that just kind of stuck with me for some reason. Just no, you made a promise to your mom. You made a promise. You're gonna stick to it, even though she's not here. You're gonna stick to it. So I just think, honestly, like, I know this might be a little bit off topic. I think we need more people to really talk about the value of education. It's not just about the degree. It's not just about the job. It's about your mind. You're in that age, like prior to 25, your mind is growing. You need it to be pushed. You need it to be redirected. I don't really care what degree you have. I really don't. I just care that you're there and you're trying to learn and you're meeting people who are also trying to learn. That's very underrated. I feel like part of the college experience, like a lot of people walk into it with like, what job am I going to get with this degree and that degree? Forget that. Go there and be in that classroom and literally try to push your mind into different directions, expose yourself to different books. And when I said education is free, to the people who are not privileged enough to be able to afford, a college education, or not privileged enough, to be athletically gifted and to get a scholarship, shit, your library is open. Go to the library and do it for yourself.
Well, I think the issue, though, to what if you wrap up here, like my head coach said that there's 10%, there's 80%. 80% of the kids or the athletes you have on their team, and maybe Ron Ox can get with this, they really don't know where they're going to do, what they're going to do. Go to class, like leadership, all that stuff. You got 10% of the knuckleheads. They're not going to do the right thing, no matter what you say. They're going to be the exact opposite of everything you want. And then you got the other 10% who do everything right. And the whole point is trying to get the 80%, as many of them to follow the 10% who are doing the job. And I'm telling you, Penn, like I get what you're saying, but dog, again, maybe Ox can speak to this. Go to class, not do a damn thing, not focus on nothing, not care about nothing, not listen to nothing, come back, don't know the plays and practice, and they end up just they don't make anything. They don't end up doing nothing. A lot of it is like the institutions up until this point, because they just weren't incentivized to do it like they are now. You just went through it, and they just try to get the most out of you as an athlete. And then once you're done, it's over. Like, if you don't contribute to what we're doing, it's over, y'all. Like, so, I mean, I'm telling y'all, man,
it's over fast, though. It's over quick. It's over quick. Trust me.
Yeah.
Take it from somebody that knows. It's right there in front of you. You can sign the paperwork. You do the wrong thing one time, and they're going to give me that back.
Right.
Quick.
All right, y'all. Well, as we transition, I know it's lunchtime for some of you guys, so let me tell you about the best place that I know to get lunch. Yes, it is Factor Meals, and with Factor Meals, you can get ready to optimize nutrition this year, today, right now. Factor Meals has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating, well, easy. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great, no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active and busy lifestyle. You can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences. On the menu each week, it's easy to pick up meals that are tailored specifically for your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or even Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So reach your goals this year with ingredients that you can trust and convenience that you just can't beat, baby. Eat smart with Factor Meals. Get started at factormeals.com/playerschoice50 off and use code playerschoice50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Plus, well, just use code playerschoice50 off at factormeals.com/playerschoice50 off to get 50% off your first box. Go and do it right now. Oh, in the Gametime app. You guys see these two nerds up here on the screen? Well, they were smart, and they decided to use the Gametime app. And, just when the playoffs roll around and you got to get to a game, it's no better thing to do than to use the Gametime app. The Gametime app makes it just quick, easy, and convenient for you to, well, get in the game like EA Sports. They don't have back-end fees. They make it so you can see the seats before you actually buy them. And quite frankly, they just save you a lot of time and a lot of just difficulty. When you could just go here by downloading the app, you create an account, and you use code CLNS to get $20 off your first purchase. It's very simple. It's very easy. And quite frankly, it's what I use to get into every game. So you should do the same thing. Download the app and use promo code CLNS to get $20 off your first purchase. All right, fellas, we do got a couple super chats, so let's go ahead and see what the people got to say about the things that we've said today. Starting with Emperor Beast Kato. He said, the rate at which they have to do that, Ron. Defenders have to close out on shooters and have to stop on a dime just in case the shooter attacks the closeout. That stress on the joints that didn't exist to the same extent.
Bingo.
So they just now had to start closing out?
Yes, Ox. They just now had to start closing out.
I'm just happy I missed that segment. Let's not go backwards.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, man.
I think I speak for myself when I say I'm happy you missed that segment too.
I'm so happy. So happy. I can't stand that type of ignorance.
Yo, what I do want to say, though, is tonight on Playback, on the main stage,
We're getting the PCL results.
Facts. I mean, you guys do know, obviously, we got the PCL going on, but we don't know who's advancing until tonight at halftime of the Rockets and Heat game. We will figure out which one of you four won't be advancing.
So you trying to
You're saying one of us. You're saying
which one of us?
Still
Oh,
included.
Spoiler. One of us.
Still
Okay.
included.
I'm gonna let
Jordan
you
included
know
as well. Hey, it's gonna be somebody from the panel that will not be.
If it's me, I will burn this place down, bro. Someone said, I think someone in the chat literally said, if I think it was Hayes. Hayes said if Penn loses, he's gonna come up and shoot up the next PCL. And I thought he's gonna come shoot up next PC weekend. That's crazy. Now I wouldn't do that. I'll accept the results. I'll accept the results.
I wouldn't accept the results.
I
know how the politics can be working. I know how it goes. So here's what it is. I've accepted that.
The politics.
It's rigged. It is what it is. I've accepted.
It's rigged?
Yeah, it's rigged.
It's like professional wrestling.
That's acting. There's
a script.
Rigged.
There's a script.
That's. I mean, does it count as being rigged if like everyone knows? If that makes sense. Like if it is like it's a performance, does that count as being rigged, or is it just take it for what it is? The PCL was meant
anything
to be
that's anything that's predetermined is rigged as far as I'm concerned. And if I find out that I don't know this opponent that I had is like
you won. Don't worry, you're gonna be fine.
Related to some PC higher up, and this is about to be some sort of Cinderella run, and I see him advance. I don't know. I'm gonna be.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You won, but we know how this goes. It is what it is.
So what are you saying? Swiper lost?
Man, we'll find out. Halftime of the Rockets and Heat game. We'll find out.
He defended the Raptors. He clearly won. He damn looks like a visionary last night.
Y'all know it wasn't me that got packed up, so
it might be. We don't know. It's rigged.
We'll just have to see, man. Some people have
you praying to be paying. You keep praying, but you're gonna have to catch this work.
I honestly, I'm not worried. I'm not even looking at you. I'm looking at my next. I'm looking at my next matchup, and my next matchup is
that's a waste of time worrying about me.
We finally agree on something. That's great. No, I'm worried about my. I'm not even gonna give my opponent the next opponent that much credit, but I'm gonna say this. I do respect my next opponent.
Who is your next opponent?
It's either Casual or Logan.
Oh, okay.
And in either case, the respect level is up here. I do respect Casual.
Shout out to Casual.
I'm a fan. I'll be honest. I'm a fan. I like Casual. Every time I hear him, he's always coming correct with the information. So
that's a fact, Pin. It's weird. Casual's really growing on me, and I don't like it.
Why do you not like it? Why are you hating?
I don't like him.
What? What do you not like about him?
It's just really, just his smug little attitude. It's the youth in him that I hate. I think I'm just because I'm an old man.
You just think he's a young punk.
I just hate that little. I just hate the little young cocky punk. I just want to
see. I told you, Ox don't like me, but it's cool.
I just want to sit his little ass down, like sit your ass, sit over. You know what I mean? But you can't put Casual at the kids' table. You know what I'm saying? He really got work. You can't little bro Casual for real. He got work, bro. He does.
The cream will rise to the top.
No, I don't dislike Mars. What I'm talking about. I stopped disliking Mars like 18 months ago. I don't think y'all have any idea how much I like Mars. For real. Y'all have no idea.
How much
I like Mars. I like Mars more than I like Ron, for real. Like, for real.
That's understandable. That is understandable.
All right. Well, we got super chats. Are you guys done with your little love fest? You guys have anything else you need to say to each other?
No, I could talk about how much I like Mars for like 3 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Do it on Chill with Chill tomorrow. Dustin Hill.
Kick my ass.
Caught up yesterday's show, and let me just say, didn't see anything wrong with what Swiper said about Austin Reaves. Brunson better, but Austin Reaves fits with the Lakers better. Am I crazy to think Austin Reaves can be a 2 with Luka post Bron?
No, you're not crazy. You just need a lot of defense around those guys.
Yeah, and then I simply said what the Lakers believe, and that's what they believe. They believe it. That's what they've shown us. They've communicated just as much based on how they view him as a trade value target. So we're not giving off Austin unless we're getting somebody that's a bona fide legit. At this point, superstar. I mean, maybe Giannis. That's about it. I mean, I really don't know. Like, I think people need to get on board with how they actually feel about AR, especially given he's making $12 million a year, because they shorted his contract extension on purpose so they can pay him what they're paying him right now. Oh, we're gonna resign anyway, so don't even try. So San Antonio, they could have gave him a nice little bag, but then they were like, no, we're gonna match it regardless. So he got 12, and he's gonna make on his next deal, Ox,
38, 40.
38, 40. That's about where he's gonna be. That's about where he's earned. Respectfully, that's about what he's earned. Like,
yeah, they the same age too, so I don't think the Lakers are coming off Austin at all, unless they can get like one of them. So we're gonna get a chance to see these two play for a long time.
You think in the Reaves? Look, if they got Reaves, Luka, Dorian Finney, or whatever the version of that is, Bam probably at the center position. I'm on early, y'all. I think Bam's going to be their center at some point. And you put him another 4 around him. I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, it's still nice. That's still dirty. Like, Reaves ain't better than Kyrie. But Reaves is just a different player than Kyrie, though. And so I think, like, if Reaves continues to grow and excel in the way they view Austin Reaves, I think they can convince.
I agree on that, right?
I know, but I'm saying the Lakers. I'm telling y'all, like they just think they don't think he's that far away from where those players are going or will be. They don't believe it.
Healthy Kyrie with Luka and LeBron vaults them into championship favorites.
But he's 33, and so their estimation is like we're not doing that. They wouldn't give him up for. I mean, honest, I'm trying to tell y'all, like, I don't know what the guard would be. Like, Ja Morant, hell no. Like De'Aaron Fox, no, 100% no. 100. He wouldn't even be a fit next to them. They wouldn't even.
Wait. All right, what was the next name you said?
De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, no.
Swiping you. All right, bro.
No, I'm telling you, they
because you was cooking for a second.
No, I'm saying they would not do this. I'm not saying they.
But how do you know this? Like,
thank you. I said this yesterday.
I thought to ask him yesterday too. How
like, are you a Lakers insider that we don't know about? Because like you're saying, be like, this is how they view him. Like, how do you know?
He be having lunch with Jeannie Bus.
Like, if you are, like, that's fine. But like you're saying, it was such like definitiveness.
It's
I'm
here to tell you.
Let me be less definitive. I think based on what I know, they would be less likely to do it for players of that ilk. If there were players of higher ilk available, they would be willing to do it. I'll just say it like that.
I'm telling you that Jalen Brunson and De'Aaron Fox are of high enough ilk. Okay, they just are. De'Aaron Fox does everything.
There's a difference in
and
ilk
more
between Jalen Brunson and De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox is high enough. Okay. I'm telling you that right now. They would absolutely drool over getting De'Aaron Fox and putting him next to Luka and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Austin ain't that young.
Over.
That's 26, right? What's the reason? 26.
He's in his prime.
26.
I understand that he hasn't had a lot of years in the league, but he's still a somewhat undersized guard with sometimes
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, somewhat undersized.
Yeah,
okay, he can't really guard point guards.
He's getting better. He's gotten better.
He's gotten better. I feel like
a lot better at everything.
The trade value, between a top 20 player and you listed off a couple top 20 players. Okay, we could argue about Ja. We definitely argue about Kyrie.
He said one.
He said Kyrie. He said Ja.
It started with Jalen Brunson though.
Yeah, he said Jalen Brunson.
That was more based on fit.
Yeah, that's the one.
Jalen Brunson's the one.
Yeah.
But okay. Ja Morant this year hasn't been. Ja Morant throughout his last 3 years has been.
Well, last
4 years. Last 4 years.
Interesting.
But you know how this works though, like Penn, organizational value, and I can say this with certainty. This part with certainty, Mars, to answer your question. Michael Porter Jr. They weren't. Remember after the 1920 year, you remember Mars. Porter was like that when Jamal went down. He was like 23, 7, 3 on like 50, 40, 90. 55, 45, 90 basically, or 80 because you can't hit free throws. So they were just like, no, we're not. No, Houston literally said, "Oh, James Harden, here you go. Would you like an MVP?" And they were like, "Nope, we're good."
How about this?
So I think organizations value players higher than the consensus does based on how they see projection and fit. And I'm telling you, for GMs, in my estimation, they're so bought into what they believe they are willing to gamble that they're right more than they're willing to gamble on somebody else in some other system being developed. And I think that's faulty. I don't think you should do that.
Well, Swiper, these guys are already developed, though. And on top of that, we're talking about the Jalen Brunson, the Aaron Fox.
No, but I don't think they think Reaves is done, though. They think Reaves has like another level to get to.
All of these guys potentially can still get better, too. All these guys are 28 and younger. Aaron Fox is young. Josh young. Jalen Brunson, he's closer to being done than them.
Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna name a name. You're the Lakers GM since you're kind of in the mind, let's just say, of Rob Pelinka. I'm gonna give you a name. You tell me if the Lakers would trade Austin Reaves for this player.
Let us know, Swiper Pelican.
Victor Wembanyama.
Hell, of course, yeah.
Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Paolo. Come on,
probably. Now. But I think the people around the league don't. I'm telling now. This again, I can say. A lot of people legitimately believe Franz Wagner is going to be much better than Paolo. They don't believe in. I mean, I heard this last year after Paolo had a really good year. So yeah, I think I would say yes. I would say yes for Paolo, but people.
Jalen Williams.
J-Dub. Probably. Yeah, probably. I think so. I would
LaMelo.
say. I mean, no.
LaMelo.
No. No, I don't think people are that.
No to LaMelo.
People don't love LaMelo. I'm telling you, people don't love LaMelo.
Franz.
Yes.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Me? Yes, 100%.
No, not you. Swiper Pelinka.
Probably. Mr. Pelican.
I would say yeah.
Okay. Evan Mobley.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
Darius Garland.
No, probably not.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Maxey.
I don't know. Honestly, like how much better is he than Reaves? I mean, maybe.
A lot. Alperen Şengün.
Yeah, no. People in the Rockets don't even like Şengün. That's another story, though, by the way.
Chet Holmgren.
Yes.
Scotty Barnes.
Did you see what happened when I put him at the top 3 in 21 yesterday on Twitter? People were just like, Scotty Barnes, why is he in this discussion? I think so. I personally think so.
So did the Lakers.
No, what would the Lakers do? Swipe a Pelican. What would you do?
What would happen?
Scotty Barnes.
Come on, talk to us, Swiper.
Scotty Barnes and Luka Doncic, he would literally show up your defense. He's 23. He's 3 years younger than Austin Reaves.
Nah, Pen, stop trying to convince him. Swiper, what would you do?
Yeah, they say here's Rui in a first. But yes, they would do it.
Would they do it for Austin Reaves? Yes, they would. Zion Williamson.
Injury issues are a concern.
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. So maybe. I think so. Maybe.
No, swipe.
I don't know. Like he's hurt already. I don't know. I can't answer that one. I don't know.
Tyler Hero.
Year 3, year 4? Tyler Hero, no. He's more expensive and worse for them. They're
Brandon Miller.
Possibly.
Amen Thompson.
Yes.
Asar Thompson.
I mean, depends on who you ask or a different play. Yeah.
Asking Swiper Pelinka.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I don't think Asar has less value.
Dyson Daniels.
No, not even
Kobe
close.
White.
Worst player.
Okay. Jalen Suggs.
Bro, you should have heard me. I was screaming this to people, and people just said that fits not. I was telling the same thing. I would, but people were saying they would not.
Okay. So the Lakers are very, very high. I mean, you were stalling at Paolo. I don't know.
I agree, bro, but Paolo just doesn't have a great rep around the league. I mean, I'm just telling you that. But it's not because he can get there. But I think he should be though. I think he should be. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. So this is real. This is me being 100% true with y'all. When I present stuff sometimes to people will bring up, like when I talked about the Jimmy Butler stuff, do you know what people said to me about Jimmy Butler? Oh, he's a locker room cancer. Oh, we have this story. We have this story. We have this story. And then I asked Miami Heat people directly, like that have covered him, what do you think? Is he like, no, he just wants his money. But people love him, like he treats people well. Like, but if you ask other people out of the market, he's a monster. Like he does things that you shouldn't, like in talking about in terms of in the building, like he's like a hellraiser at all times and not happy. But I'm saying I think that's gas for several different reasons.
Here's the thing. I do agree that sometimes the people who are beat reporters and people who are on the ground, they do have a pretty good understanding of what's going around the team. But I'll speak from personal experience on this. I know trainers, I know people who are close to players, I know family members of players who are a lot closer to these players and know their situations. So I had, I'm not like official media or accredited media, so I had to kind of find my own path, and I'm very, very blessed that I did, because again, like you want the truth. You want the truth about what's going on in the locker room. You want the truth about what's going on with ownership or coaches or relationships between players. And I got to tell you, during the Raptors, like 2022, 2023 downfall, where the entire locker room was divided and Fred and Pascal and everything was going wrong, there was some serious push from our media, the people who we trust the most, that Fred was totally innocent in all of this, that he was a great guy, that Scotty was a bit of a, cancer, that, Scotty had work ethic issues and all this stuff. And it was all cap. So I'm just saying, like, what happens behind closed doors is not necessarily what the media thinks happens behind closed doors. Like, there are private conversations that happen that beat reporters are not privy to. So it's like, when we start assuming that the people who are on the beat are like getting the full story just because they're privy to like the 35 minutes after the practice happens, doesn't mean they know everything. And if anybody's trying to tell you that Jimmy Butler is a bad dude, they're clueless, because his teammates love him. Most of his teammates
I heard stuff
him.
about Kyrie too. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's not every. What I will say is the best way I think that to judge things about how other players speak about you. Like, another narrative that I tackled on here is about Melo. People say Melo is selfish and this and that. And I've said everyone that I know that's come across Melo, except for Coach Carl. Coach Carl, and I know Coach Carl, he's talking good about Melo, but they had their whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody said Melo is a tremendous teammate and did anything and everything the coach asked him to do. And Chauncey even said directly that Melo was asked to do what he did as a scorer. So, like, he got put in that role. He was asked to do that, and he did it. He based on what Jeff Bezelic, Coach Carl, and all these other people asked him to do, he did the job. So we don't have that criticism of him as a shot chucker, as a selfish guy. He showed up every day and did his job. And what I'm saying is that, like, I think Russell Westbrook, people bring it up in the chat, the vampire noise, that did not come from other players. Players did not feel that way about Russ. So where did it come from? There's only 3 levels. There's front office, there's coaches, and then there's media. Players they felt one way about him, and then the other people felt a different way because of the contract and all this other stuff. So it's all a game. And I think you have to know what you're listening to and how people are talking about folks. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where my thing about Reaves comes from, Ron. I just think they are extremely high on Austin Reaves, and they think he could develop into an all-star level player, or he can be a swing piece for
agency. You left one layer out of this. What about agency
narratives? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they devalue contracts, they raise contracts all the time. Agencies are definitely they have private investigators to follow athletes to find out more information about them. If especially people like Ja, like, they have PIs following players like that off the court, because we want to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do and all this other stuff, and you're not running around with the same crew that's getting you in trouble. Like, yeah, 100%.
I mean, with sports betting taking such a giant leap into the mainstream, right? Knowing what a player is going through because you're in with their crew, I mean, that's basically inside information. It's basically inside information. You could, low key, you're pretty much trading inside information if you know that a particular athlete just went through a horrible personal, thing that's gonna, that's been distracting them, or they're about to go through a divorce and, stuff like that. I'm not saying a player can't play well if they're about to go through a divorce, but if you know for sure, like, hypothetically, if I know for instance that this athlete is just lost, a close loved one or a friend or something like that, and they're away for personal reasons for one day, and then the game they come back, it's like, or if I know that, from this athlete's trainer that, oh, they've been getting a lot of really good sleep lately, they just drop that little tidbit, be like, oh, they've been sleeping like, solid 8-9 hours like over the last couple of days, like this is almost like, oh, so they're gonna be a little bit better. So I don't know, like, it's crazy how much information is out there, and trying to weed through it is nuts.
Y'all make sure to like the video, subscribe, become a member, and just right quick, Ox, let me shout out our Hall of Famers. My man Tyrus Williams, Cheese, Multi Kenny, Cobra Son of Raditz, Vale, and SSG SS Poco. Shout out to the Hall of Famers. If you're not a Hall of Famer, join up and let me know when you become a Hall of Famer, even some of the current Hall of Famers, so I can add you to the Hall of Fame group chat, and you can cash in on some of these perks that we got for you. As you were saying, Ox?
It ain't no big deal. It's nothing.
All right, I got a super chat from Dustin Hill. Dustin said, I had an intense debate about Austin Reaves versus Jaylen Brown. So I have to ask, who's the better offensive player? Who's better in the clutch? JB, that much better defensively? Is it not even a debate? Who y'all taking?
I'm gonna mute my mic.
As a player or a contract? Like as an asset?
No, just athlete, just a player. Not the contracts have always included with Lakers fans and Reaves. Just player. I'd rather have Jaylen Brown.
You could keep the contract in this pin, just to make it somewhat fair.
To make it somewhat fair.
That's the only way it can even be that's the only way it can even be somewhat of a conversation is if you add the finances in there. So go ahead, please do that so that we can discuss the super chat. Because if you don't, then we just have to move on and not say shit. So
well, you could say Jaylen Brown and keep it pushing if you want. Like we still respond.
Well, you know what I mean, Marsh.
We had a title about the Phoenix Suns playoff hopes yesterday. So I mean,
who did that? Mr. 11 p.m. over there. I'm taking JB. I have watched JB play in the playoffs in high level situations for 6 years at least, and I've seen him guard the best of the best. I think that when he had a down year defensively 2 years ago, Ox, it was mostly because of energy and stuff he was dealing with injuries and all that stuff. But he's proven to have a very high offensive ceiling as well. I think that JB is a very good player. And I would absolutely take him over Austin Reaves.
And if it wasn't for Jason Tatum's ankle, we'd be having some different conversations.
No, you be having a conversation. You got beaten in another finals.
Right, but like JD said, I mean it as disrespectfully as possible. Not respectfully, JB. I mean as disrespectfully as possible.
I'll take Austin Reaves.
Of course.
What do you mean, of course? What do you mean, of course? I'm not even that high on Austin Reaves. I'm that low on Jaylen Brown.
Of course you would.
Of course, man.
Oh,
we locked in, twin. Hey, we locked in, twin. Of course.
Because I don't mean it like that.
You definitely do mean it. Like
I don't, Penny. You know I don't mean it like that. I'm saying it because I know how you feel about Jaylen Brown, and that's why I was so.
And people who look like Jaylen Brown, yeah, facts.
No, I wasn't implying that. No, what I'm saying is like I know how you feel about Jaylen Brown, and so I figured I needed to just go ahead and defend Jaylen Brown, even though I don't think he should even need any defense. That was a disrespectful super chat, but is he that much better? Is he that much better defensively? Like what?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Jaylen Brown is better defensively.
You're the one who tried to tell us that Derek White was better.
Derek White is better.
See what I'm saying? Let's move on.
Yeah.
Well, defensively, I think he is better.
Yeah, but that's not what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm just finding comment.
Why do we act like Jaylen Brown is?
Ox, you better shut your ears because the analytics 100% favor Austin Reaves in this argument in every single category.
What?
I don't think Ox cares about the analytics.
You said the analytics.
100%. The analytics favor.
I'm so sick of this, bro.
I already cooked. I cooked on the JB Derek White.
He's a better shooter.
He's not even having a good year this year. He had a better year last year.
Let's just be clear.
Is he better than Ja Morant too? Is he better than Ja Morant too? Because Ja's having a down year. Is Austin Reaves better than Ja Morant?
Okay, I like Ja Morant.
I'm gonna stop cutting you off, Penn. That's rude. I want to listen.
I'm cutting them off. Cut off.
I like this logic. Penn will teach you some things if you give him the opportunity. I'm all
mute your mics and learn. Go ahead.
Hey, man, you cooking
it's like a 10-minute runway to
get right now.
I'm just playing. I'm not listening to that shit. No, go ahead, Penn. Go ahead.
I mean, shoot, like, okay, make the case. Make the case that Jaylen Brown's better. I will tell you right now, Austin Reaves has had a worse situation throughout the year. 100%. He has a harder conference. He's playing in a harder conference. He's playing in a harder situation. He's playing with less space. And I will argue he's been considerably more efficient across the board. Literally every level of scoring, he's better. He's a better free throw shooter. He's a better 2-point shooter. He's a better 3-point shooter. He's better at everything. Okay, except for a couple of segmented things: defense, and he's not as athletic. But as a shot creator, as a playmaker, the playmaking is what actually separates here. It's like, really, what do you value? You value shooting and playmaking from your third option. You value defense. And if Jaylen Brown was a lockdown defender, I would listen to you and I'd say, okay, I get it. I get it. The defensive gap is so huge. Jaylen Brown ain't a lockdown defender. He's not a lockdown defender. He's a
Luka might beg to differ.
Who?
Luka.
Oh my Lord. Luka's.
What do you mean? Oh my goodness. What? What do you mean? Oh my goodness.
You don't see, you really think that a healthy Luka Doncic wouldn't cook the shit
Come
out
on,
of Jaylen
bro.
Brown
Come on, dog.
defensively?
Come on, dog.
He'd be body bagging him.
I mean, at some point, I got to go with my eyes. If I see an 8-game sample size of him doing the same thing to this man, I'm not gonna just move on and say, "Oh, he's hurt, his injury." I watched JB strap him this year. I watched him strap him in the final, and I've seen him strap him before. He's a very good athlete that moves very well horizontally, who's very strong, who Luka can't bully. That's why Luka struggles with him, because he can't just bully JB, and he's not faster than JB. So and he's very smart. He's a very intelligent defender as well. So I'm not going to do this. If you want to believe in AR, then I'm fine. I'm completely fine with that. You can stand on that mountain. I will not join that.
Would the Lakers trade Austin Reaves for Jaylen Brown?
No solidarity.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, they would. Okay.
100%.
With that pin, would the Lakers trade Austin Reaves for Jaylen Brown?
No.
Henny Hardaway. This is all I know.
In the league.
Henny Hardaway. That's a stat watcher. He said Luka dropped 34 the last time he played JB. When did Luka score his points in that game? I just want to remember that.
He played terribly in that game.
I just want to remember because he shot 50% in that game.
That game was like 2 weeks ago. We watched that game. He was horrible. I said the same thing to Chill. He's like, we watched that game. He was bad.
Mars, I'm gonna ask you because I know that you really don't like to give answers to things you don't know, specifically like injuries and stuff, right? So I'm gonna ask you because I'm gonna get the best answer. What injury? And Kenny, feel free to chime in here. Mars, what injury causes your knee to bleed on the outside?
A cut. I don't know. If you have a cut or a scab that peels off,
rug burn,
bleed.
A foot burn?
I mean, sure, yeah, that would cause bleeding, or maybe if you've had some injections that that part could cause some bleeding. But if like you have a muscle injury, it's not gonna bleed, obviously. So I don't know what Luka had. To be honest, I'm not gonna pretend like I do, but I don't think Luka played badly because his knee was bleeding. I don't think that made him play badly, but I do think he was probably dealing with something that was more significant than his knee was bleeding a little bit. But his knee bleeding, I don't think was the problem. But I don't know Lucas. So.
All right, I've never seen a knee scrape get blown out of proportion before. What's up? What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Kenny, what's going on?
Hey, what's good, guys?
Kenny in the building.
What's good?
Kenny, before we move on in the super chats, is there anything that you need to get off your chest? Do you want to talk about the PCL? You want to talk about any conversation today? Or is
what's the best matchup?
Wait, Kenny, why aren't you in the PCL?
So I'm not in the PCL because of my work schedule. I wanted to join it. It's in the chat, in the Telegram chat. I talked with like MTEL and them, and I said like I wanted to join it, but my work schedule, I didn't want to pull like what happened with the. Well, granted, I know that was a family emergency, but I just knew I'm in track season right now. I'm a supervisor here at my fitness center. I have too much stuff going on.
Who would you have beat? Let's just say work wasn't an issue. Who would you have beat? Would you beat Ox?
I'm gonna say this.
I'm not talking about debates, but I'm gonna beat you like you stole.
Okay.
So when it comes to debate style, especially how I approach debates, I think the only person I may have lost to is Mars, Carson from Nerd Sesh, and that's it. Those are
the only two people you would have lost to.
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah, I think those are the only two I would have lost to.
You know, self-awareness ain't for everybody. That's good.
No, I am self-aware. I did I know how good my debate skills are. And a lot of other panelists on here. Swiper would have been close. Because I think he's probably the second best debater on here.
Well, Kenny, sometimes close ain't close enough.
Hold on. No, Ron. Because
It doesn't matter.
Let me help Ron out. Since you're so smart and you think you can just walk Penn down, tell Penn why JB is better than AR. Go ahead. I want to hear this. That's your topic. Go ahead.
Maybe he thinks Austin Reaves is better. Maybe he thinks Austin Reaves is better.
That's not what PCL is about. Argue JB. That's your no notes. No notes. Walk up. Come on, Barry. Bonds. In the game.
Just walking up like that, man.
On, Barry,
part of the debate is being able to take time to study, and actually, it's one of the things I want to talk about.
That's not what the panel is not that. Let me be clear about this. You think we prepare before we get on?
Not for the panel, but
no. You think I prepared for a JB AR debate today? No,
I don't prepare.
I'm strapped. I'm ready. I got the booklet next to me, dog. Like I'm
for this, but not for the PCL. You knew your PCL topics.
A JB AR debate is a very, very organic discussion that developed. That Penn got packed upon, by the way. But I'm saying, do the same thing. Take your turn. Take your turn. We've already taken our turn. You take your turn. Why is JB better than AR?
Can I please remind you that the way the argument was laid out is that the contracts were included. We were talking about those players with contracts included. Because according to Ox, that's the only way the debate could be fair between these two apparently completely poles apart players. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. JB makes a hell of a lot of money, so yes, Austin Reaves clears. But go ahead, Kenny.
No, I didn't want to be a part of it in this demeanor. Like that's what I said. I know.
Kenny, we're not gonna force you to get into this raggedy argument. But here's the thing, though, Kenny.
They mad that Kenny was probably.
I want to be real. I want to be real for a second. I know you're a Hall of Famer, and all respect to that, but like you did come up here and basically just said that you would walk me in a debate, which I think is crazy. I'm gonna tell you right now, Riv would pack you up so fast you wouldn't know what hit you. Jordan would knock you into the third.
Jordan would. Okay, no, you gotta stop. Jordan, no, because Jordan, all he's gonna do is yell. Jordan gonna be talking to Jordan. Is not on my level.
So apparently, you're the only one who can prepare for a debate, huh? Okay.
No. I didn't say that. Now you putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm the only one to be able to prepare in a debate. I just know how good of a debater I am.
All I know is you called a Hall of Famer. You said you can beat everybody but two people, but you over here looking like LeBron James in 2011 right now. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
LeBron. Relax.
Kenny, this is all you have to say to these two.
You look like Travis Knight right now.
Swiper, say Duke did it. Hey, say Duke did it to Swiper. Swiper, you didn't just run through Duke. Also,
he did great.
Also, John D. He was a wild card. Julius, he was a wild card.
Ooh.
Did Gibson beat Renegade?
Wait,
he was a wild card.
Huh? My bad. I forgot about John D. I would lose to John D. I would lose to John D.
Did Chill beat Mike the Champ?
I would lose to John D. I would lose to John D.
So you would beat John D and walk through Penn?
No. I wouldn't beat John D. Would beat me. I don't think I could beat John D.
So I saw it when you said Penn.
John D would definitely beat you. You would definitely beat me, but I beat John D 3-0 last year. Okay, cool.
No. Here's my thing.
John D on that acceleration. See, John D's brain is still growing. He's 22 years old. See, he's still getting smarter out there. I'm getting dumber every day. So I don't know.
I just think here's my thing. I'm confident in my debate skills, and I can see holes in a lot of other people's debate skills. And the ones that I said that I don't think I could beat, I don't think I can exploit their flaws good enough. With Mars, in order to beat Mars, you have to be able to attack a logical argument at such a degree that he can't have a comeback for it, because he will take any point.
That boy Mars.
Oh my God!
Y'all about
he
to
just
will.
Hey, respect the current PCL champ.
Scouting me, I guess.
I've been scouting everyone. I was serious. I wanted to join this. And with Penn, he can get flustered. Swiper does it all the time. He can just get under your skin, and you will divert from the point. He do it all the time.
But Swiper is a professional troll. You are an amateur at best. So there's
you don't know me.
Try to get under my skin right now. Go ahead.
You don't know me, man.
Kenny, just talk about his struggle growing up and how it was minimal compared to yours. Just say that. Talk about that. I'll get him.
That wouldn't bother me at all.
Just the fact that I said I'm confident in myself that I could potentially beat you, and you got this heated because I'm confident in my abilities.
Bro, I'm
smiling. You already did it.
You think I'm heated? You think
you were like, oh my god, you're gonna walk
Yo,
me down.
Kenny, stop picking on Penn. Kenny, damn.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
All right,
man.
well, Kenny,
all Kenny said was that he
Leave
thinks
him
he would
alone.
beat most people. I don't see the problem.
Yeah,
Kenny,
I can't give myself to it.
I asked you to come up here and you had the floor to go wherever you wanted to. And Swiper did what he does best. He diverted the conversation. The Penn does what he does best. Took it to a whole nother philosophical level.
Bro,
Kenny, is there something
to take
that
it
you
where he
would like
wanted
to
to go,
talk
and he
about?
went right off the cliff?
No, where I wanted to go was to give props. I wanted to talk about who I think won.
Go ahead.
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
he's
oh,
gonna
yeah.
lie about Mike. Yeah,
No. Shut up, Mars. Shut up.
See,
You have been the bane of my existence this past week. All right, because
being right. Okay.
no, for being wrong. Mike shouldn't get credit for arguments that he did not bring up. He shouldn't. If he wasn't prepared and he didn't attack, because I think Chill did a bad job this first round.
Horrible.
Mike could have
Yeah.
Mike could have easily beaten him. But the fact that Mike out of his own mouth said, I didn't prepare for this, is why he didn't. There was easily exploitable points in no, he didn't. He did not. He did not.
What's the score in your opinion?
2-1. 2-1.
What two did Chill win?
Round one, apparently.
Round one, and I think two. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. Which one was the
2 was the Hards and the Maxi one.
Oh, 1 and 3. 1 and 3.
So
Yeah,
3,
right,
the
right.
Charlotte Hornet Washington Wizards one based on the regular season wins.
Yeah, I think the way
Whereas who
that
would win it? Who would beat who in the playoff series?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was based on the regular season wins, not including like a fully healthy Charlotte and 3.
Yeah, and then Mike kept bringing up that Charlotte hadn't had a fully healthy team against the Wizards yet.
And then Chill said the point differential wouldn't have been made up with those players available.
Yeah, and then Chill was also just lying about certain things as well. But that's besides the point.
But my point is, and I agree with you. I think he used some. I think he used points that were easily disprovable, but Mike didn't do that. And as a judge, I'm not going to give him credit because Chill slipped up. It's your job as a debater to do that.
Genuine question. Genuine. So if I go into let's say I won in my first debate, we don't know yet. We'll find out today. If I go into my next week round and I just blatantly lie, like everyone knows I'm lying, but the person I'm going against doesn't call out the lies, the judges aren't allowed to dock points from me for lying.
I think
is that your stance?
I think they can deduct points, but I don't think the opponent receives those points.
We're not giving Mike points for Chill lying. We're saying if you lie and everyone knows you lie and the judges can see you're lying, and this is, I'm speaking for myself. If someone blatantly lies and we're on a time limit, 1.5 minutes, and then the 3-minute back and forth, I should not have to then use 20 seconds of my time having to prove that you are lying when everyone knows you're lying. Like if you say something so blatantly false, I shouldn't have to use some of my limited time showing that you are lying when everyone knows you're lying. Okay, I should be able to make my arguments, debunk your arguments, and carry on going without having to derail myself to say, oh, by the way, this very clear, obvious thing is a lie. Like everyone can see that you're lying. Everyone can see that. I
kind of understand. I understand Kenny's point. So basically what we're saying is, okay, let's just say every single debater starts out with a score of 0, and then you build it up based on the points, right?
Yeah.
So the points you're making build you up, and then at the end of the debate, you end up at either 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, whatever. Let's just say you lied. You get docked some points.
Yes.
But those points don't get transferred to
the
other person.
So Chill goes to -1. Mike can stay on 0. But Chill goes to -1.
So
that's
what if the
judges don't know if you you know what I'm saying?
Well, if someone says something blatantly false, like at that point, then who are the judges if they can't see when
like if I say Steph Curry,
I'm not saying something that's up for debate. I'm saying something that's just
Mars, what are you saying Chill lied about?
The isolation, pick and roll.
The isolation.
Let's say for instance we're debating
Steph.
Just one point. The pick and roll. So if you say Chill lied about that, what if the judges don't think you lied about it?
Then the judges need. This is why I say the judges need to be vetted, and the judges should have to be. The judges should have to explain their decision. But that comes down to a whole different thing about formatting. Because if I can lie, and if I'm allowed to lie, then I'm not gonna lie. Then this is.
Well, I mean, like if we're having a GOAT debate with Steph Curry, and I say Steph Curry leads the league in deflections, and you just can't disprove that. You have to take a stance. But I will say this, though. If you call out your opponent for lying, like, for instance, if your opponent decides to make a really big deal out of a particular injury, and you could just be like, that's not a really big deal.
Well, Duke did it. Duke did it.
Oh, you're talking about the torn meniscus thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Duke did it to me when I said I think the Timberwolves had the 5th highest net rating in the NBA, and he said on NBA.com it was 8th. Well, with dunks and threes, and I did have to explain where it came from. They adjusted for schedule and all that stuff. So I think that's a proper call out. But then you do have to be able to respond and say,
I'll give you a pro tip right now to any debaters out there. Read the chat. Read the chat. Because when someone lies, I'm just letting you know, keep that chat on your right side because
what about
someone will call it out.
Because what about if the chat is frying you? It's gonna get flustered like how Swiper be doing you.
I'm not flustered with Swiper. I don't think y'all realize that I have evolved as a human being over the last year of my PC.
Seen your growth. I've seen
You
your
have.
Congratulations.
Swiper's only made you stronger. And now
Swiper has
you
made
better
me
hope he don't see you
stronger.
in the PCL.
Absolutely. I mean, getting pressed consistently, crashing out, losing your mind, watching the chat, going back, watching some of these videos and be like, how did I get tripped up there? How did I get tripped up there? It does make you stronger. And now some of this shit just goes right over my head.
Sniper and Pen is Goku and Vegeta for real.
Once again, I don't understand these references.
No idea about that reference.
Dragon Ball Z? Is it Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Which one is which though?
Just type in Krillin. I can pull Krillin up on the screen if you want to. I can show you guys who's Krillin is. Goku.
Swipe at me is like Ken and Ryu. Like we're brothers from another mother. We just look different. That's cool.
All right, y'all. Well, actually, before we move on,
we have the same moves, the same character.
I don't
They're
think
not the same character.
I don't think we are, but I do have a lot of respect for Penn. Again, if we didn't do this show and we were doing a show about film, first off, I think Penn would be one of the first people I'll call. I don't think people understand how much I love film, cinematography, and storylines. I would love to do a show like that.
Hey,
Swiper, you like
I do. I like rom-com. Matter of fact,
you are a fan of chick flicks. You're not a fan of real cinema and real movies. You are a fan of chick flicks and rom-com.
What's wrong with a good chick flick?
Look here.
Because Swiper tries to pretend like he just is like some cinematic theater connoisseur, and he just loves real good movies. Whole time he watching movies with Drew Barrymore and Mandy Moore.
Just for people to
understand,
knows
all the Rachel. He only knows Rachel McAdams movies.
Rachel McAdams. I am a big fan of Rachel McAdams. There's also, I want everybody to know this. Everybody needs to know this. There is an upcoming movie called The Materialist with Pedro Pascal coming out, and it's by Celine Song as the director. She's a wonderful director. There's a new, literally a drama, romance drama coming out with Pedro Pascal this year by A24. I cannot wait to watch that movie. So, Ox, you're 100% right. I do not discriminate on time of films. I love it.
I bet you said you like cinematography?
Yes.
Check your phone when you have a chance. I sent you something that's going to blow your mind.
I will.
I don't think you know about. I don't think you know about this.
Can you send it to me too?
I think you might actually know about this, but I'll send it to you too. Yeah,
I mean,
it's literally my cinematography rule. I think.
Matter of fact, Ox, hold on, because Ox is such a pretender. This is what y'all don't understand about Ox. Ox is a softie. He really is. He's a very nice guy. He's a well-rounded human being. Look,
I didn't say that.
You would love A24. I think put out one of the 3 best movies of 2024. I think Past Lives is literally one of the 3 best movies to come out last year. All of y'all, everybody in the chat, everybody in the chat should watch that movie. It is spectacular.
He talked like he watched chick flicks, talking with his hands. That's cool. Like, put your hands down. Put your hands in.
Y'all are very comfortable with it. I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I love it, bro. Glee's a terrible. I don't watch Glee. I don't watch Friends. I don't watch Full House for several different reasons. I don't watch any of those kind of shows. I've never gotten with those shows. I have a Living Color was my show. Living Single was my show. Fresh Prince, Cosby Show, all that stuff. I grew up on that era.
Did you watch Rock?
Rock? No. The 3D Rock?
No.
No, not Rock. Not Rock either. No, not Rock.
Yo, fellas, I'm about to really back in before
I started
this into the movie's choice. All right, but Kenny, I want to ask you about some of the PCL matchups.
Yeah,
who you believe won?
Mm-hmm.
Dion versus Rishi.
Dion.
Shout out the kid from Ohio. I just wanted to shout out the kid from Ohio. King Capers versus Cowboy Bob.
King Capers, Cowboy Bob.
If you didn't check it out, then
no. I watched all of them. King Capers. I think King Capers won that one. Cowboy Bob was a dude who looked like never mind. But I think I think it was King Capers. King Capers, I think, won that one.
Gifted and Renegade.
This one was hard for me
Hmm?
because This one was hard for me because I think Renegade made better points, but Gifted controlled the arguments better. So that one was hard for me to like call on which one did I value more. But because I think Renegade said some good stuff, but Gifted dominated so much of the conversation. But
you talk a lot but don't say much. How you really win?
Yeah, I think Renegade won. He made better points. He made better points.
Damn, Gifted, you got packed up.
But like if they're like performance levels, like Renegade gotta bring it for the next rounds because there's people who are gonna bring up the same type of points but be able to deliver it better.
Okay, Jordan and Carson, and I know you're not the biggest Jordan fan.
I know Jordan cool. I just Jordan cool.
You just think you would beat him in a debate?
Yeah.
I don't think that means he doesn't like him.
Yeah, Jordan cool. Jordan versus Carson. Jordan
so
also impressed me. He did. I thought Carson was gonna walk him down, but Jordan brought the right amount of ignorance at the right moment. That he stole that round. What was it? Was it round two?
Who raised you? Can you give a compliment without doing the backhand compliment?
That wasn't a backhand compliment.
Jordan brought the ignorance at the right time. That's not a backhand compliment.
No,
I Pitt, that could be a skill.
That's a skill. That's absolutely a skill.
You got to watch what you say about Jordan when pinning around.
What the heck? Nah, bro. It's bringing the aggression. It's knocking someone off their pivot.
I know from personal experience, Jordan does not like that word. But
whatever.
It's funny. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But I think he won the LeBron part. I think
I think he won that.
That was the one I was like, oh, because he made some really good points. So this is the thing. I think you agree with this, Kenny. PCL is a different kind of debating.
Yeah.
You have to have a specific kind of skills within PCL because it's not traditional debating in some ways. So I think Carson was not prepared for perhaps what the iteration of debating would be versus like Jordan, because Jordan's not gonna come with like a bunch of numbers and stuff. That's just not what he does. But Jordan's gonna talk about things that are relevant to him as a basketball player, and I think that's what his strong suit is, which is why he's good at what he does in real life. So it was an all around like a good solid debate.
I still had Carson winning 2-1, but Jordan, that's like one of those 4 or 5 matchups where it's super close. You know what I mean? But yeah, I have Carson winning that one.
Who do you think would have won between ZZ and Riv, since Riv would wipe the floor with you?
I'm not familiar with Riv. That's the only. I didn't want to speak on that. I'm not familiar with Riv.
All right.
Shout out, pick a side.
Big Ox and Matty Ice.
I fell asleep on that one. I remember that. I fell asleep on that
one. So, March, you weren't the only one yawning.
I'm telling you, man.
No, it's for me, it was late. I think I was getting back from either work or a track meet, so I was out.
All right, Casual and Logan. We had some good ass first round debates, y'all.
I think
ones.
Casual. I got Casual. I got Casual.
I think I had Casual as well. After the fact, not before.
Yeah, I got Casual. And I think the same issue with that Carson faces is that Casual is can come with the numbers but also knows how to do PCL style. So I think that's what the nerd sesh guys I think struggled with is the kind of the aggression and more like the ball knowledge or former.
You could say it.
Yeah.
You could say it.
Say
what they struggle with?
I don't know. What do they struggle with?
I don't know. What are you insinuating something, sir?
Yeah, well, are you insinuating something?
I don't know. What did they struggle with?
I don't know. What did they struggle with?
Yeah, what did they?
You said they struggle. What did you say they struggle? You said they struggle with the ball knowledge.
I think they, from listening to their podcast, watching their, especially watching them on the Hoop Talk podcast, they are really, really good at talking about like a discussion style about basketball. When it comes to arguing basketball, someone like Casual can bring kind of like that aggression and also know how to say the right buzzwords in order to hook an audience. And that's why I think Casual is better.
All right, and last but not least, Brax and Pirate. Who do you think won that?
Oh, Brax. I was disappointed.
No, you're only saying this because you're a chat representative. Can you guys keep it real?
Brax.
I know we love the chat. I know we are all tied with one. Chat. Come on, be honest. Who won the battle?
You know what, Ron, you're right. Brax still won.
Yeah, apparently I was hating on Pirate in the chat because I thought Brax was winning. I don't know, but I mean,
now Brax definitely won that one.
It was 2-1. Like he lost the last rounds handily, but he won the first two.
Yeah, he won.
I do appreciate that you didn't even ask him who won between me and Finesse because you know the answer to that.
Yeah,
we don't have time.
Everyone knows you swept that debate.
No, we don't have time to get into boring debates.
He didn't bring up my debate either, because respectfully to Matthew earlier, everyone knows I won that one too. Like,
what happened with Hayes and it was Hayes and Mustard on?
Hayes and Emto.
Who's Mustard arguing?
Mustard went against Real Talk.
Real Talk.
Who do you think won that one, Kenny?
Real Talk.
Yeah, that was Real Talk. That was
a lot of the handed ones.
It was a sweep.
No, it was 2-1. It was 2-1.
Yeah,
Real Talk lost himself when he went with the J-Dub rim protection.
Do you think Mustard was just rusty from taking 6 months off?
He was rusty from saying Jason Kidd is a light-skinned Ricky Rubio. And that's what he was rusty from. So
Who
was the who did it was the double Chicago guys.
SB and Ryan.
Yeah. SB won that.
No, he didn't.
If I remember correctly,
you didn't even watch that one, Mars.
I don't care. He lost. He lost.
Mars is disgusting. Yo, K-Dot, what's good with you?
What's going on, man? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Man,
what's going on?
Drop the dub KTs in the chat. Shout out KT. We got a real one in the house. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How about y'all?
Cool.
I don't complain.
I'm gonna give you the same privilege we gave Multi-Kitty. Is it anything that you would like to address right here, right now, in the PC community, NBA community, game tonight, anything? PCL?
Nah, man. I think you guys did a great job on the PCL. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a little upset that the questions were repeated, but it is what it is. It's okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
What was that about? Yeah,
the JJJ Sabonis
the
play.
Jaren Jackson and Sabonis thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, some of them was
Oh, my
now he left.
That's crazy.
Yo, Kenny, why you not in the PCL?
Honestly, bro, just work. I'm like Kenny. I don't want to try to sound like him, but I also train on the side and then just work. I just didn't have time to prepare for it, to be honest with you. You mean good move?
Good move to not sound like Kenny.
Oh, what's wrong with Kenny?
Penn just hates on Kenny at this point. Yeah, Penn just hates.
I'm just saying, you're gonna come up here and be like, "Oh, I can't be in the PCL, but I would pack up the PCL." Come on, man.
I never said pack up. I said I'm confident in my ability.
I mean, everybody but 3 people. That's basically saying you were Final Four. If you get the right,
no, it depends on matchups. He's saying if he came up against Carlton in round 1, he would have gone home in round 1. It's just, stuff happens. Like, he just thinks he's better than he thinks he would have won a debate against. What was that 29, 28?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
from what I know,
next year I hope you book some time off and get into the PCL because I would love.
And then when he's right,
he will not.
Pretty
be
sure
right.
we'll have the PCL.
Why will he not?
Ron, bookmark this. Give me Multi-Kenny in the first round next year.
It's not up to you.
Why are you so confident that Kenny's not right?
Because he's confident in himself. And don't do that, Mars, because it's the same thing with Chill. Chill's confident in himself. Can't knock down confidence.
Yeah, but delusion exists. Like,
I mean, we all got to be delulu about ourselves in some way.
Kenny,
sure,
and then it could be acknowledged first round, or is that not worthy enough of your time?
Hey, if we do it in next year, I'll run into the same problem as this year because I'm in track season. Summertime.
No. We gotta wait for you to go through your entire career and then wait for you in retirement to come out. Come on, man.
Pin, we would never see Kenny in the PCL. Pin, I'm telling you right now, Pin, we'll never see Kenny in the PCL.
Y'all thought that about Mike?
Facts.
I could possibly do this summer, depending on the time frame. I could possibly.
You gonna reorganize the PCL for Kenny? That's motion. Man.
He's a Hall of Famer.
That's motion.
I could possibly do
motion. There we go.
We'll just have to see, y'all. We'll just have to see. But y'all, we got a couple super chats, so let's go ahead and.
Great.
Mars.
He's never gonna read those super chats.
Mars.
What does Ron do? He finds the most expensive one. I'm also stalling, so Ron comes back. Oh, look, there he is.
Told y'all my internet. Yeah, this is crazy out here. But I could just do it Mike style like this. So let's go ahead and get into them, y'all. The super chats that we have. Oh, and Dub Cheerio, by the way, too. It's been a while since I said that.
Yep.
Since 6 said Brunson won't be back until the start of the playoffs. I think there's a world out there where my Knicks go home in round 1.
Definitely
I'm scared
possible.
of the Pistons, man.
You should be scared of the Pistons.
That physicality with Pistons would be a hard thing for Cat, I think.
Is there a chance they don't maintain the 3 seed?
Bro, they just lost to the Charlotte Hornets last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't particularly close.
Yeah, after losing to the Spurs the night before.
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing, Mars. Though, like, I think like they could lose the 3 seed, but I think they're still as good as they were previous to this. I think March is a very difficult month around the league. This like you look. Matter of fact, Mars, if you look up, I think this month, I think the Spurs, if they don't have the best offense in the NBA, I think they've been top
Spurs.
10. Yeah, I want to say that. Yeah, I'm saying that very carefully. I don't know what the exact number is, but like I think like March is just a month in the NBA where things are just kind of a little bit backwards or whatever. But yeah, I
the
think
Spurs have the best offense in the NBA this month.
Best?
Yes.
Number 1, San Antonio. Number 2, OKC. 3, Minnesota. 4, Boston. 5, LA. The Clippers. And then I could keep going down, but I can't bother anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
also have the worst defense. So
Yeah.
do what you want with that information.
Hey, man,
Number 1 in offense, last in defense.
Yo, I'm glad you brought up the Pistons because I do want to put this on the screen so we can see exactly where the Pistons, Bucks, and Pacers are. Mars asked a good question, and I have a similar question out west. But he said, can anybody catch the Knicks? Do we believe the Pacers or the Bucks have what it takes to catch the Knicks? Keep in mind, Jalen Brunson is out.
I don't know why you snuck the Bucks in there, but yeah, I think the Pacers could.
Yeah.
Don't they got 40 wins?
Yeah, I think this is updated. Old. This is from before yesterday, I assume, because the Bucks have 30.
Yeah.
So this is what we're looking at right now. Good catch, Kenny. Let me see.
I mean, I think
Pacers
they could.
on
I wouldn't bet on it,
streak.
but I think they could. Yeah, I think they could.
In
I
their
don't know what
last
their
10,
schedule is looking like.
So Pacers on a 3-game winning streak, 6-4 in their last 10. The Knicks are on a 2-game losing streak, 4-6 in their last 10. Obviously, no Jalen Brunson.
The Knicks have a really hard schedule coming up. They have 2 games against Cleveland, 1 game against Boston, 1 game against the Clippers, 1 game against the Bucks in a head-to-head, and also 1 game against the Pistons. And I do want to say, if the Bucks or Pistons were to try and catch them, the head-to-heads are even more consequential.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Pistons do have a short break. I mean, what is it, 4.5?
I mean, home court advantage would be a huge deal for the Pistons, I think, because they're a young team. They're going into their first playoffs together. You kind of prefer to have that at home, but it could also go the other way where, you know, there's a little less pressure as the road team in game 1, where the other team has all the pressure on them to maintain home court, and then you just come out and you're not supposed to win game 1 on the road in the playoffs. So now you're playing with house money. You get hot, they go cold. Jalen Brunson's not feeling right. Damn, all the pressures on the home team in the game 1. So I don't know. If you were Detroit, what would you prefer, home court or to be on the road?
I mean, obviously home court.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if it's obvious.
I mean, I'd rather the home court, but I'd rather an opponent I favor, if that makes sense. Like, I would choose, if I had to rank it would be favorable opponent on the road, then home court, then non-favorable opponent on the road. That would be like my order of how I would.
Would you take Detroit over Indiana?
I'm not taking Detroit over any of these teams in the series, but their best chance, I would assume, is probably. I do kind of like them against the Knicks to lose, but I think they could compete. So I think right now the 6th spot is probably good for them, if I'm being honest.
All right, y'all. I'm running a poll right now. That is a great question. What would you rather have, a favorable opponent or home court advantage? Y'all talk to me. Let me know what you guys think is better. Let's go ahead and run down to the Western Conference and see what's going on over here. Because as we know, it's as tight as it's just tight.
But if you ignore the top seed, just ignore them. Just scroll down a little bit.
All right, there we go.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
So, I mean, even with this being said, these teams are four games between each other, 6-2, but also too the Clippers and the Grizzlies aren't far away from each other. All of this. So my main question that I was going to ask was, how far do we see the Warriors potentially climbing? Can they catch the Grizzlies? Can they catch the Lakers? Can they catch the Nuggets?
I mean, maybe. But
12 games.
I think the Warriors
can they be caught by the Clippers?
They could.
They could.
Bro.
I think the Warriors are going to stay in 6, if I had to guess. I think.
Does it shock you that Draymond Green took 14 threes last night?
Draymond Green was strapped last night.
I mean, he was
strapped like
he started off. I don't know how many he made in the first half. I want to say like 3 or 4.
He had 18 points in the first half. Isn't that ridiculous?
He went 4 of 8 from 3 at halftime.
Yeah, he went 4. Yeah,
Draymond Green in double digits. Jump scare.
He's trying to help his defensive player of the year case, and he knows in order to help your defensive player of the year case, you have to score points. It's a weird phenomenon, but that's what you got to do. So he's just doing what he can. Shout out to Draymond.
Yeah, I think like Memphis. I think the Lakers could potentially. I mean, I don't know what the Lakers want to do, man. They might stay 4 or 5. Memphis is a weird one for me. They could drop a little bit. I don't know if the Rockets sustain this. I don't know what the rest of their schedule is, Mars. So you would have to kind of read.
We have a favorable schedule for like the next 7 games, but like our last 5 games of the season are like tough, depending on if those teams like play.
Well, you play Denver twice.
We play you in the last game of the season, so that will either be a game where, we play you this Sunday. Yeah. But the second one is the last game of the season. Standings will probably already be.
Yeah, I honestly, the Nuggets, they might do the exact opposite of last year. There's potential for them to be like full rested away, basically like playing.
I mean, you're not really in jeopardy of going into the play-in, and a team like Denver, I think being fully healthy and rested is more important than being the 2 seed, for example. Right. Whereas Houston, no real championship equity, try and get as high a seed as possible, have home court advantage in the postseason. I think that's more beneficial.
Because the thing is, bro, if you're
like the Lakers and Nuggets going to prioritize just being healthy. Whereas
if you're 4-5, dog, I'm not gonna lie. If I was the Lakers or the Nuggets, I feel like I'm fine. Like, because think about it, or even if you're 2-3, really, because think about it, you got to play. If right now the Lakers and Nuggets, the Warriors and Nuggets will play, I think they're fine with that. The Clippers and the Rockets, I think the Rockets will feel like this is the best shot we have. Like that's probably of all the teams, be the best team. But then if you beat whoever is in that round, then you're playing versus like either Houston playing Denver, or you're playing versus like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, it's just like whatever. Like I think at that point
if you're not on OKC side of the bracket, I think you'd rather stay there, if I'm being honest. So 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 7, and 6, I think is probably the place to be if you're in the West.
I would love to see a Lakers OKC second round, though. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. That would be true, like good television.
That would be a good series. But the Rockets have a schedule where I think if they're on an 8-game winning streak, they're probably going to lose tonight to Miami. I don't know if Jokic and Murray are going to be back on Sunday. Swiper, do you know anything? Or are they still?
I think Jokic is out tonight, and I don't know if he plays Sunday, but he could, because at that point it'll be 7 days of rest. So, you know.
And we already beat you guys by like 20, so maybe it's like
without no Aaron Gordon, no Jokic. Yeah, I mean they might just sell it again. Who knows?
Hopefully. Speaking of hopefully, but so and then after that it's Atlanta, Utah, Phoenix. Those have to be 3 wins just based on what the Rockets need to achieve. Then the Lakers, that'll be a tough game. Then the Jazz, that needs to be a win because the Rockets closed the season with OKC, Golden State, the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. So they have to, of their next, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Their next 7 games, the Rockets are probably aiming for 5-2 minimum. And then that last 5 games, hopefully they're comfortable in that 2-3 spot. And then they can see where it plays out from there. If they go on a skid these next 7 games, they're putting themselves in danger for the last 5, or maybe being like a 5-6 seed, depending on what other teams do. But I'm hoping for 2. I'll say that. I'm hoping for the 2 seed.
I know one thing. It's going to be a hell of a race to the finish, y'all. So I can't wait. The West is really giving us top.
How you feel about your team, Ron?
With the Bucks?
The Grizzlies.
Or the Pacers?
Or the Warriors?
Insert team here.
The fact that we don't know.
Yeah, but everyone be clowning me. But Ron, look at him going through the league.
Yo,
Mars. Don't say anything.
Hey, Mars. You know what's so funny? We all said 3 different teams with the same amount of conviction.
I thought you was about the Grizzlies.
And nobody said the Hawks. I'm
telling you, Ron worse than me, but somehow he escaping these allegations. It's cool though.
Oh man, I don't know what y'all talking about. All I know is it's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun, y'all. But we got more super chats to get into, so let's go ahead and do that. How we rocking? KZD. Speaking of Ron, KZD sent through a members chat and said Ron is the greatest rage baiter of all time.
He's a masturbator. That's 100%.
Imagine
Ron, why are you not in the
imagine
PCL?
Ron breaking down the Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. Be like, "Yo, we beat the shit out of us."
Ron, how come you're not in the PCL?
All right.
Because I don't have a backup judge. You know, like
So-
in baseball or
backup
let's say
judge?
soccer.
Backup
for instance.
judge.
Oh,
Are you saying you a judge, Ron?
Nah.
You
I
made a
meant to
slip?
say host. Stop meant to say host.
Now I know.
Y'all know what I meant to
This
say,
is
man.
ridiculous.
Y'all
Okay.
threw me off my pivot. Y'all know what I meant to say.
Wait,
But,
Ron.
Morris, it's like if you don't have a backup goalie, like I can't ever come out the game.
Ronnie, what are you gonna do when Tyrese Halliburton is clicking Brooke Lopez in space?
I'm gonna read super chats. Matthew H became a YouTube member. Big shout out to Matthew H. Also, I got a super chat from Your Highness Charles. You remember one of the biggest trolls ever in the chat? He said, yeah, it was easier to play basketball back then when you were forced to play through injuries. Had to take crappy charter buses and sleep in awful motels. Ask players in the 60s, 70s how much easier it was.
I think they're missing the point with that super chat. That's no one's saying that. They're saying that the ground that you need to cover and the toll you're taking on your body when it comes to in-game performance is more difficult. And coming from someone in that background, it's just truth. Now, granted, are the more, I would say, superficial injuries, as in like the more contact injuries, are those as prevalent? No. But the wear and tear that you're taking, like stopping on a dime and having to move laterally is something that it takes a lot out of your joints, ligaments, even your muscles. And a lot of these guys, as professional athletes, they still don't do as much as they probably could, even with their resources, to prepare their body. And they're already on like a higher tier as most people. But some people are just stubborn. They don't want to do things like yoga. They don't want to do things as outside type of exercising that's not the typical.
They're lazy, Kenny. That's what it really is.
It's not necessarily lazy. It's just there's only so much time in the day. They're going to prioritize what makes them their money. They're going to prioritize shooting. They're going to prioritize playing defense, knowing the playbook. They're going to prioritize those things.
Kenny, that makes some money too, though. Like yoga, you will be surprised how much money yoga can make you. You might not see it based on your 3-point percentage going up or your free throw percentage going up, but I mean, you playing an extra 3-4 years, that's a whole nother contract.
Yeah,
ask Kareem, somebody that played in the 70s was doing yoga.
Facts. I'm one of the very few like behemoths who were able
but
to
you
masterful in longevity. So
you spitting though, Kenny. Like I'm with you.
that's why he would win in the PCL.
Facts.
Yeah, you see them very eloquent points he laid out. You see the experience he had in terms of talking about sports performance. You know what he's talking about.
Just let me know who you want. If you want Penn, I got you, Kenny. I got you. Straw Hat Sales said, most of the guys up here think Franz over Paulo, which is fine. I disagree a lot, but y'all think Franz has a higher ceiling? I understand the two-way value versus efficiency issues, but I think Paulo's strength makes him rare.
I don't think
I'm not one of those people. I think Paulo can be really good, but I'm telling you, I have had people are weird about Paulo. I don't know why. Like, not up here per se, but just like they think Franz is more of a winning player. That's what I've been told.
Well, I think I've been very consistent on this, and I think Ox is. Well, I don't know how Ox feels about the ceiling part, but me and Ox have been very consistent that we think Franz is Orlando's best player. But I've also been very consistent saying I think Paulo has the higher ceiling.
Yeah,
and I haven't kept that secret. I think Paulo has very clearly a superstar level ceiling with how good I think he can be. But just with the limitations within his game right now, I still think Franz is the more impactful game-to-game player. But Franz also has some very glaring weaknesses that if he addresses, the ceiling is quite high with him as well. Both of them are just very flawed young players, which is, I guess, natural. They're like 22 and 21, I think. 23 maybe for Franz. But
Franz has a higher floor.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Franz is like a solid 6-shooter revolver, and Paulo is like a magazine-fed pistol. All right, the ceiling and the destructive power of a magazine pistol is really high, but they have jamming issues. You have to keep them clean. You have to make them maintained better versus what you're getting out of a revolver. It also has its deficiencies, knowing that, hey, if I fire this gun, it only has a capacity of 6 versus a magazine-fed pistol, double stack can hold 32. So
this is why you would lose in the PCL.
No, this is why he would cook.
That's why he would win. He giving gun analogies. Come on, man. Who else doing that in the PCL? Come on, man. That's
nobody.
That's why he would beat everyone. Yeah.
Can he say something to you, Pen? Did Kenny say something to you?
No, I didn't. Besides the fact that I said I was
just asking.
Pen just saying.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he did. He did. He did it inadvertently.
Strongly,
he inadvertently said he would beat Penn in a one-on-one, even though Penn has never seen him before or heard from him. That's all I'm saying. That's Penn's perspective. Now, I'm not saying it's my perspective. That's Penn's perspective. Is what I'm saying, brother. Don't look at me. I'm your brother. Okay, I'm here for you. I'm supporting you.
Okay.
And just know, if you see him in the PCL, gun bars is something you got to deal with.
Bro, this is what I do. I pick opponents that I think are very easy. I create some sort of weird beef with them, and so I get an easy opponent in the next PCL. That's exactly what it is.
Why do you assume Kenny's easy?
Yeah, the chat got heavy hitters, man.
Facts.
You keep seeing it.
Up to my knowledge, it may be
from the chat showing up and they're doing their job. But I mean, I guess.
Hey, y'all talk about the evolution of basketball. What about the evolution of debating? Hey, the chat might overtake all of y'all. Hey,
what?
I don't gotta deal with no debating.
With all due respect, technically the chat did when I rose to the top like instantly. Technically, the chat already did that, but that's away from the point. But...
Well, I think
so. Basically, what you're saying is in 3 years it's going to be 8 more up here.
Well, yeah. Well,
ideally, technically, yeah.
To be fair, I think when you listen to people talk every day, there's an advantage you have because you listen to people's nuances, the thing that makes them tick, the thing that their strengths and their weaknesses every single day. So I think like that's a part of it. And also the chat's learning from us. So if they're learning from us and then they're also incorporating their own personalities and own specific knowledge insights into conversation, then like they know they're growing their own path while growing off of our work. On the
so
other side of that.
They're merely just your offspring.
No, that's what any mass education is that.
Bro, you can make as many photocopies as you want. I'm still the original. Like you're not learning from me to beat me. Okay, like you getting 1% of me up here. Okay.
Who did you lose to last year?
I think I lost a swipe because I staged a fake protest.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, you did do that. Yeah,
I think you got swept, so you lost all of them. But I mean, others did lose that one as well. Yeah, but hey, I think you're a wonder. I think you're great at what you do, though. You're a great debater, 100%.
And the funny thing is, Penn, for someone who's coming so hard at me last year,
this ain't hard.
Or last PCL, in the chat, I had you going like being like one of the top competitors out there, and then
so I disappointed you, and now you think you can beat me. All right.
No. It's not like that.
You might be the 4th best. He just thinks he's better than you.
The thing about it with especially with new guys coming up, I'll just still stand in the same place I've always stood in this. It's not debating skills that I'm concerned about.
Your audio bugging hard.
I thought it was just me. Yeah, I thought it was just me.
It's going crazy.
Is it cool now?
Yeah, cool now.
All right, cool. My bad. So what I'm saying is, it's not debating skills that I'm concerned with or ever have been concerned with in this space, like on this platform. It's the lack of ball knowledge that is the thing. So you know, what I mean, it's a lot. It's even people coming up from the chat. You might be a dope debater, but do you really know basketball? Do you understand basketball?
Do you?
And this is where
psychology. I think that's a huge part of this. And again,
like that, Kenny.
He doesn't know my background. He doesn't know my background.
But do you know my background? You know how many neuroscience books I've read?
Hey, that's cool and all. I'm not, everything I'm saying is based off of my own performance. That's it. I know how good I know I am. All right, I'm not trying to talk how good you are.
If you going up against Michael Jordan in '96, it doesn't matter how good you are. You getting clapped,
bro. You Lavoy Allen right now. That's what you are. So I don't want to hear about no freaking Michael Jordan.
He's who?
Lavoy Allen.
Okay, you Harold Miner.
And all I know is I remember once upon a time the great one said, "Don't bring no notes, just bring your basketball mind." And I think that you guys should stick to that.
No, that was Ticket.
I never
He's surely not the great one.
I would never say that. I believe in notes, man. 100%.
And based on what Ox said, that's where I'll humble myself. So I'll never be like, "Hey, I'm trying to take your spot on the panel." No, I know my lane when it comes to that. I know that for sure. But if I have time to prepare for a debate and PCL style format and present an argument, I can hold my own against pretty much everyone else.
Kenny, what do you think makes people good on when you said you differentiated between a panel and a PCL? What do you feel like makes people good on the panel?
I think Swiper as a whole, I think you and I think you're the most well-rounded panelist here. It's a mix of performance, knowledge, and being able to explain your point well. And I think that's where someone like Chill has been kind of slipping recently, is he is super knowledgeable. He's really good at presenting his points, but the issue is he gets so caught up on something specific. And I think being able to bounce off of people and direct the conversation and things of that nature, I think that's what makes someone really good on the panel.
Chill would smack you in a debate too.
You don't even know. Whatever.
Hey,
I'm the only one who's gonna stand up for Chill here. Chill
into Mike. I think Kenny would beat Mike. So
I ran a poll.
Hater.
Multi-Kenny versus Penitentiary, and 55% of the people said Multi-Kenny would run circles around Penn. That's not exactly what it said. That's just kind of what I got from it. So, hey, there you have it.
It's a close poll, to be fair. It's close.
Yo, the chat be hating. There's like at least
the chat don't like me. Like what? The chat don't like me. So
not as much as they don't like me.
Man, you guys battling to see who's disliked more now?
Like, what does that mean if you beat him in a debate?
Yeah, what does that mean? What does it mean?
What does that mean if you beat him in a debate?
Hey,
KT, your audio's a little off. But Penn, answer the question. Yeah.
What is the question?
Yeah.
What does it mean if you
what does it mean if you beat him in a debate?
If I beat him in a debate, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
There you go. We in the PCO for nothing. All right. Kyle Martinez sent through a members chat and said, "Salute the panel. Go Rockets," and Baru Ab to make a fire shadow swiper.
Huh?
So what?
That's about the
tomorrow. 9:30, y'all. 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. I already got it in my brain. I'll be at the house alone. You know, people I take care of business. I'm gonna make brunch, like early breakfast.
Where's this going, bro?
I'm making breakfast tomorrow. I'm sitting down, and I'm 24 minutes tomorrow. It's the final episode of Solo Leveling, and I am so excited that the exchange on the last episode to close out the show.
Hey, I'm behind.
Come on, swipe it.
Well, the highlights are all over the place, by the way. Just
and I've been avoiding it.
I got you. I can't wait. I'm seated though. I'm fully seated.
All right, y'all. Luncho, aka Huncho, sent through a member chat and said, "Mike 2-1, Brax 2-1, L. Dub Lil Bob Nas X." He could have just said his predictions. He didn't have to do all that extra stuff. But either way,
do have Brax 2-1. I do know that for sure.
So nobody up here had Pirate winning?
No.
Well, last year I didn't get a chance to watch Pirate the entire time. Pirate. I saw him. The most memorable thing from him was the Klay Thompson fully erect thing. Is what I remember. Right, and so that was like a great clip. But in terms of debate, Mars, I feel like you know him a little bit better. Do you think Pirate is like is he a crafted debater, or do you just kind of have like a personality lane he leans in?
I think it's a mixture. I think that's what leads to success. He has the lane where he can be humorous and make things funny, especially when he feels he has a topic that he is the disadvantaged one, for example, where he's arguing from the tougher side. He can lean into the comedic route. But then when he feels like he's comfortable and he has the strong side of the argument, he can also just speak to it from a basketball perspective.
Yeah.
And he's very convincing in the way he speaks. He uses a lot of numbers that people value or things that aren't too difficult to understand the scope of. And he also understands like the way the game of basketball works. Like I'll give Pirate credit. The third round against Brax, when he spoke about how a team with a bad offense that hurts their defense because you're defending in transition more, and how that made Orlando's defense more impressive.
That was
like
a good one.
That like being able to make that point clearly and then stand on that point and hammer that home, I think is what makes Pirate all around a good debater. Now I still think he lost 2-1. But I still think Pirate is a good debater. I also
so it's really would you say even PCL is it more matchup dependent than even the NBA playoffs is?
Well, I mean it's one and done. So I think just the fact that it is one, like it's not. I mean technically there are 3 rounds, but like it's one matchup and then you're out of here or you stay in. So I think you could have a bad day, you could have a bad question. You could not be fully convinced on the answer to your question, where you're arguing from a side that's like, I'm not fully convinced, but I'm more comfortable on this side. Now, there's a lot of things that go into it more than just who's the better debater. So I think anyone who takes this as like, oh, you won, this means you're the best debater. I think that's probably where it goes wrong. But
I think as long as I'm telling you, and I'm so glad we did, as long as we stay out of the 70s and 60s, I think PCL is going to be very strong. But if we start getting into Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain and Jake the plumber, like it's gonna get nasty.
If you want that to be the case, you better talk to me nice over these next 2 weeks.
Talk to you nice. You don't come up with the topics. You said Ox comes up with the topic. He'll call you at 11 p.m. So like, where the topics at for tomorrow?
Talk to me nice. Otherwise, Ox is gonna penalize you.
That's the titles.
Okay.
So Ox, you came up with the Phoenix Suns title, or Ron decided to do it on his own?
I had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
See, hey, when it's good for you, yes, I did. When it's not, but all right. Almighty Scambo sent through a members chat and said Cavs in foe. L Nick, L Luncho, L Ron, L Ox, L Bozos.
100%. Cavs in 4, whoever they play in the first round.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Donovan Mitchell didn't finish two 4 quarters in that series. I'm pretty confident there.
CP9 said, can someone explain why every YouTube video that says SGA is the MVP is dislike bombed? What's up with a certain hashtag fan base?
100%. You know why? Because it's the same thing that happened when LeBron was at his apex and when Jordan was at the apex if social media was around. Whenever you have players that are preeminently considered the consensus best player by the mass, not everyone, by the mass public, then you're always going to get that. That's the same thing will happen everywhere. So there's a lot of again, because I feel like Mars is appropriate. He knows this timeline. There was a time when Jokic was considered a bum, and then now Jokic is considered like the GOAT of the era by most people. So I think we've shifted, and now everybody's like, oh, because now you got a lot of new NBA fans that are like, oh, he's the best in the world. He needs to be the guy. He needs to be the MVP. And so they're gonna spam. They spam. That's just pretty common. Like you can't go to a Kevin Durant. Was he the best player in the world in 13-14? LeBron fans are gonna destroy the comment section. That's just the way it works, Shout out to
cult fan bases. I think it's different when it's European players as well. Like Şengün has a cult fan base, in terms of like Rockets fans and stuff. Like people who just watch the Rockets for Şengün. If Şengün gets done wrong, trade him. He doesn't deserve this. Like it's kind of crazy with like European fan bases. And I think Swiper, you've dealt with this as well. When you criticize Jokic, you're met with a lot of Serbian disdain.
Trade him. You're not thankful.
Yeah, so like
black people, and they don't like Jokic. I mean, it
gets a bit crazy.
It's not just Serbians doing that, by the way, but it definitely happens for sure.
It gets a bit crazy. So I think that's a part of it, and that's what Jokic.
Serbia is a really small country. It's less than 7 million people. It's not really making a huge dent, but.
Well, we are going to see here very soon who destroys the comment section of this video, depending on who Mars and ZZ decide to choose for their 16 seed to pick an NBA player to go and win March Madness. Personally,
I can't even remember who I chose.
I guess we'll all just have to watch and see when the video drops tomorrow. But I got another super chat from SMN R&DM. He said, Cat, all you need to do is be a good yapper. It doesn't matter if you were wrong. If you yap, you good. If you wrong, it's better. It gets engagement in super chats. Look at me. Case in point.
That's why Ron says outlandish things, because he knows it will spark a debate and he knows how to make content. Ron decides to be the
Brooke
sacrificial lamb.
Lopez is more valuable than Al Horford.
Yeah, right. Ron decides to be the sacrificial lamb to create content, and I
don't believe the things I say. I just say things.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I definitely respect it.
I've watched in real time Ron start on one side and then flip to the other. See
I can reconvince myself. Can I not reconvince myself?
Ron, it's fine. Ron, we respect you for being the one who
because I'm not
who decides to
I can be
die
in
on
the
the
room.
hill just
I
for
can
the
be
sake
in
of
Chill will agree with me. I'm sure maybe Ox can agree with me. You've been in the room and you've seen a chick, you'd be like, she the finest person in this room. But the more and more you keep looking at her, you like, damn, you know what? She better than her.
Yeah, shout out to you, Ron.
And this is why you support 4 teams. Boom.
Facts. Gotta do what you gotta do. Pimp named Slickback said the Heat don't have a first-round pick in 26 or 27, and Pat Riley just traded Jimmy Butler for a discount. It's time we talk about this old man retiring.
Yo, people really don't talk about cognitive decline as much as they should, but you know, we look at people and we just say that is a legend. What happened with Phil Jackson? What happened with Pat Riley? What's happening with Pat Riley? I mean, we just got to accept that sometime after 45, your brain is going to turn to mush. Now, it can turn to mush really slow. You could be aware of it and surround yourself with a lot of really, really smart people. But the cognitive decline is real. IQ goes down as you age. You're like, yeah, you're just not as sharp. And honestly, you got to consistently reinvent. You got to consistently. I think from a perspective of neuroscience, what fires together wires together, right? As things change, you have greater complications the longer you do things because you have more information that you need to unearth as it changes. You have a way of doing business in the 80s, the way of doing business in the NBA in the 90s. But for someone who comes in 2010, who's just kind of schooled the right way, they go to school, they figure out the league from a fresh vantage point in 2010, versus someone who's been doing it since the 80s, they got to undo how they do business, right? And that's why, like, I look at someone like Pat Riley and how he's dealing with Jimmy Butler, and he's probably like, well, back in my day, and Jimmy Butler's like, bro, I wasn't born in your day. You know what I mean? So you gotta evolve or die. And that's why I really respect anyone who's able to do anything successfully in an industry for like 40, 50 years, because that meant you had to reinvent yourself successfully like at least 7 times.
Well, we talked about this too. Like, players don't there's some people players don't love playing for. And you know, Pat Riley rubs on people. Like, it, you know, it just LeBron felt that same. Remember, LeBron, the whole Wade story, LeBron and his cookies. Like, Pat Riley, they lost, and he, as a way of getting back at them losing, he took LeBron's cookies away off the plane. And LeBron, from that moment on, knew it was probably time for him to get out of Miami. Like, that stuff matters. Like, and I think Pat's just an old school dude. That's just the way he feels about things.
D Barber 1313 said, "What injury do you think affected a team the most this season?" My vote is Nico's brain injury. So it's Pat Riley and Nico both declining upstairs.
I think I don't know if it comes out. Nico, he got something out of this. I mean, either from ownership or from the Lakers. He absolutely 100% in my mind got something. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
All right. Void Century said, "This super chat is for Big Ox. I used your Giannis points and rebounds under for my 6-man last night and won 500.
That did hit. Yeah, he had like 28 and 7, I think.
He gave you 1%. Nice.
You guys do know we would have won last night, right?
Who sold?
Yeah, Big Ox sold.
Valanciunas, right? Valanciunas sold.
Shit, yeah, Valanciunas sold. I had 3 out of 4. Not bad.
He only played like what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I don't
because he was getting cooked. That's why.
But everybody else hit though, except for him. Still didn't necessarily lose. Got the $20 back.
Yeah.
Oh, he did a flex.
Broke even. Yeah.
So we're finna use that on the main stage tonight, boy. Morris, you want the less?
Absolutely.
I got you. Finn Jones said, "Ox, what you Netflix and chill to? Bridge on the River? Fucking still
back up.
Leos?
I Netflix and chill to Casino. or kill the Irishman. You know what I'm saying? One of them.
Hey man, Steel Magnolia is a good movie too, Ox.
Never.
1980s movie.
Oh Jesus, okay.
Good movies in the 80s. But see, I like westerns and shit like that too. I like old movies.
For a few dollars more. Shout out, bro. Van Cleef.
Fistful of Dollars, all that. High Noon.
I'm telling y'all, man.
Kid.
Y'all gotta
in the Sundance Kid. That's a real good movie.
Open up y'all resumes, man. Shout out, Ron.
I've been watching Victorious.
Magnificent Seven was a good movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt.
I did like that movie.
I'm sure you're not watching that.
Shout out Elder.
Oh, I'm on like season 1, like episode like 16. Yeah.
Shout out Wyatt Earp.
We're going through Victorious right
now. Netflix and chill to No Country for Old Men.
I was about to say.
So you guys really the same person? No more.
I'm not really Netflix and chilling. I'm a busy man. I don't got time for foreplay. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to that shit. I gotta bounce. You know what I'm saying?
Emperor Beast Kato said, "Did I not say the rate? Y'all have reading comprehension issues, respectfully."
I don't know the context.
Oh, I understood what you were saying perfectly.
Yeah, still disrespectfully. I just don't agree with anything he was talking about.
And disrespectfully, don't make fun of me, bro. We all know. We all just know, okay? Fuzzy Facts. Fat Facts? Fuzzy for Facts said, "This is not just a basketball conversation. The generation is more and more physically and mentally weak." How do y'all feel about that?
No.
I think
50-50.
Each generation thinks the next generation is weaker than they were. Like every single generation. I found it funny. There was like some things found from thousands of years ago, some writing of some person writing that the kids these days are so entitled and they didn't struggle like we did. This from like 2,000 years ago. So like even back then they swore that the generations were just getting weaker. It's how life goes.
Well, I'm sure when I made that up. That's not real.
You could probably look it up. You'll probably find it. So I'm sure when I'm 40, 50, like 25 years from now, I'm sure I'll be there like, back in my day, my generation was so much stronger. Look at these kids these days. And I'm sure I'll be doing the same thing. So I don't think it's anything new. Every generation has been saying that for millenniums. So
I mean,
we can't agree like these youngsters though, like the 19 and under, 20 and under group, they are a little off though.
I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. But I think every generation has their questionable people.
Yeah.
Well, I think the pandemic has like quantifiably affected people's development.
Greatly.
Quantifiably. Like we know it has. It's just whether it impacts them, negatively or not is the question.
Yeah, it's greatly has.
Mars lost a year and a half of social engagement, basically, of his life as a child because of the
right, but wasn't nobody really just sitting in the house? They might not have been going to school, but
there's this thing that people always say, like music was better in my day, or movies were better in my day, and they say that, but the reality is that as you get further and further away from an event, your memory of it changes. So you don't remember all the shit movies in the 70s, but there were a lot of them, right? You don't remember all the 80s movies that were shit, but there's a lot of them, right? So in general, I think things are moving towards a certain level of progression. Technology has moved faster than people can keep up with. But I will say that I think people are less resourceful today than they were 30, 40 years ago.
Because these young punks is entitled, Pen.
Well, I don't think it's
that's about to change.
But here's the thing, Ron. Like you're not really developing muscles. You're not working, right? So
lose it or lose it.
If I spoon feed you information, if I make things too easy for you, then technically, as I amplify your resources, I'm actually diminishing your resourcefulness.
Mars, you ever read an encyclopedia, Mars?
No. I have. There you go.
I know you have, Pen.
You said Mars.
No, I don't.
Oh no, but look, here, Pen. Guess what? You're getting your wish because I
don't mean like that. I'm just saying like we all read encyclopedias.
Yeah.
I know me, you, Swiping, and Ron for sure. I don't know how old you are. I don't know.
Pen,
I know me, you,
the Department of Education is about to be nullified.
Me, you,
so.
Swiping, and Ron.
What you mean, Swiper?
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the internet, so yeah, I don't need to. You know what I'm saying?
I read Wikipedia a lot.
I read the encyclopedia.
I read Terry.
When I was coming up, they told us don't read Wikipedia. That it's all misinformation and absolute bullshit, and that if you dare to use it in an essay as a citation, you will be disqualified.
Shit.
As a
You better not
my whole essays used to be
no wonder.
AI.
No wonder.
AI.
No
if
wonder.
you use
I had
Wikipedia as the
WI.
source itself, but if you actually take the look at the references at the bottom of the page and then vet them yourself as someone who is supposed to do proper research, it can be a reliable source.
Y'all have time for
foreplay.
You know what's crazy?
You could use encyclopedias, Wikipedias, whatever you want. I'm using Ashley's and Amy's. You know, so
I'll tell you something that's absolutely insane. Okay, this is the advancement of AI. Okay, so this year I had to write a press release for Pendance, and I wrote it out and I showed it to my girl who also works at Pendance, and she said, "This is terrible. This is like looks like something like I would write." And I'm a writer. I'm a professional writer. I've written like 44 scripts. I've written 12 books. Like I'm a writer. So she goes and she inputs into ChatGPT to reorganize this text in the style of me. She feeds it my writing from 4 years ago and pulls it out. And bro, I couldn't believe I wrote this shit. So ChatGPT just fixed it all up. It took all the ideas, reorganized it. It's nuts how far artificial intelligence has come. But what I realized is I'd never used ChatGPT before, but when she showed me that you could do that, then the next time I was struggling with writing, I just went to ChatGPT like, "Oh, can you reorganize this to make more sense? Can you make this concise?" And I realized the more I asked ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence to do that for me, the less I learned to do that for myself. And that muscle, i.e. my brain, is actually getting weaker and weaker every time I rely on something to do something for me. So I don't know, man. I think it's important that we remain able to do this shit for ourselves.
So, Pin, are you agreeing with me? These little young motherfuckers, they're a little off, right? They a little.
I mean, I don't know what 6-year-olds
off.
So I don't know about that, but
they're a little entitled.
I'm just saying that. Not, and mind you, Mars, I'm not talking about everybody, of course. I'm just
they're a little bit. They're a little. You know what they are?
That 20 and under group, they're just different. Like they don't.
Let me use the perfect word to describe it: brittle.
Yeah,
a little brittle.
You know, like a strong gust of wind will really ruin their day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I mean, hey,
yo, big ups.
I said gluten-free crackers, man.
I'll just went to ashleysandannies.com.
You have ruined my day.
Is it ashleysandannies.net? This don't look like the right place to
.org.
ashleysandannies.org. Okay, cool. Get a lot done over there. .milk. Rod sent through a super chat and said, "I told Ox about Kevin. The Lakers are sick resting players last night just to play the Bulls on Saturday with Bron coming back too. I hate them."
Don't you want to lose? But
I was thinking.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
with
he.
The
maybe
Lakers?
he I don't know. The Bulls.
The Bulls. He sounds like a Bulls fan.
Don't they want to lose? Like, I don't think he cares. You should be happy that they're bringing everyone back for the Bulls if that's what they're doing. But
Miami is tanking tonight. Just letting you know.
We'll find a way to lose.
All
right, watch.
You watch.
Every time I watch my team on Playback, we lose. Every time. So just watch.
Well,
so he's about to get their first win in 10 games.
Yes.
Come on.
Shout out, Ben. Kendrick Starr said, "Why do you think Steph doesn't get obvious foul calls?"
I thought that should have been a foul yesterday. I don't.
I can't explain why some people get a whistle that other people don't. I can't explain it. Where I do think there is a skill to drawing fouls and embellishing contact and being able to draw contact. I think that's a skill. But I think there's also some players who very clearly get hit and don't get the benefit of the doubt the way other people do. And I'll never be able to understand that. Maybe we'd have to ask a ref. I don't know. But it's very interesting.
It's well, I think for their era, LeBron, Steph, Durant, Jokic, of the four like top of the mountains, I think all of them, none of them get the calls they probably at their apex should have gotten.
KD was getting to the line. I'll give him that. KD was getting, but KD was foul baiting to get to the line. But I think some of it is like KD was so frail that like you knock him off his spot like easy. So it was easier to see when he's being affected as opposed to LeBron. LeBron was so strong; he was playing through contact so much. It's like, how do you officiate this? But I think Zion is feeling something similar, where you could call a foul on Zion every play, but they just don't because like, you'll get to the point where it's like where everything's a foul. So I think Bron had a bad whistle. I think Zion has a bad whistle right now. I think Steph has a bad whistle. And then I watch guys like Jimmy Butler have the best whistle of all time. So it's like It is different. It's very interesting. Kyrie, I think, has a bad whistle as well. So it's just different.
He just doesn't. He's just ethical. He's not stressing content. He's not stressing.
He doesn't embellish much. That doesn't help.
Exactly.
And to avoid being, maybe this is biased. I think Jaylen Green has a horrible whistle. That's something I wholeheartedly believe. His whistle was really bad, but he also doesn't help himself either because the way he plays is so fast. It's kind of hard to see when someone's hitting him because it doesn't really slow him down. So he needs to do a better job of being able to sell contact. But yeah, I think
these NBA players need some.
Cade has a bad whistle as well, but
Cade climbing up in the technical fouls as well.
Because he got a really bad whistle. Cade be getting hit and don't be getting.
That's true.
So there's some players with a bad whistle. I think efficiency would like be a lot different for a lot of players if their whistle was better. So hopefully they figure out how to draw fouls. And
Cade about to start getting that whistle though.
Scotty Barnes has figured out how to get fouls.
If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's gonna get that whistle. But all right, y'all. Football breakdown. Said apologize for my weird mix. What tastes like hot dogs and teardrops or teardrips and looks like pantomime and clear bricks and smells like shotgun and deer piss.
Is this a song? I'm not well versed in music that isn't from Taylor Swift.
I have no clue what this is.
You a Swiftie?
Absolutely.
That's why you're so popular. Okay, I got you.
Maybe that's where I got all them votes for. It's like, oh, by the way, Mossel Sports is a Swiftie, and they just start voting for me in the PCL.
Well, I just want to let everybody know that I am into whatever Korean K-pop shit that's happening right now. There you go.
The chat doesn't have a vote this year, so it doesn't mean anything. But there you go.
What? Hold on, that's not true. Ron said that if the chat really, really wants,
we're not going back into why he said that again. So
you guys go and comment on the PCL videos because your comments may just add up.
Whether you think that he is engagement farming or whatever, let's be real about something, okay? If the comments go completely nuts for one person, you're telling me it's not going to subconsciously swing the judges a little bit?
I don't know who the judges are. That's the thing. Like, we don't know who the judges are.
You guys know the judges. You guys know
one of the judges. There you go. Cat's out of the bag.
You know Ticket. You know the judges.
Wait, Ticket's a judge? Yes.
Oh, did I say that?
Yes.
Oops.
I'm winning the whole damn thing.
Nice.
Yeah, shout out Damo, though, and Doug as well. I think that might be the reason you didn't get a sweet, Mars. Should have been nicer in your past. But anyways, Pimp named Slickback said, did y'all see Kendrick Perkins' top 5 point guards? Westbrook at 4? No CP3? How is it 2025 and we still putting Westbrook over CP3?
Yeah, he had Russ at 5, not 4. It was Steph, Magic, Isaiah, Oscar, and then Russ. That was his top 5. Yeah, I disagreed, but
how are we in 2025 and we still putting Isaiah Thomas over Russ?
I actually agree with that, but that's besides the point.
Championships. Come on.
Right, and that's why Jordan's over LeBron.
That's one of
Tony
the
Parker
485 reasons Jordan is over.
But I do agree with that. I think Russ is better than Isaiah Thomas, but here's what it is.
All right, y'all. Moving along. Pit named Slickback said, Ox trying to one-up RG3 today? What's this supposed to mean?
Who's RG3?
Robert Griffin III, Heisman winner at Baylor, and then was a second overall pick for the Washington, at the time, Redskins. Had a great rookie year, then ended up tearing his ACL in the playoffs, and then had a very shortened career because of it. He now was an analyst for the ESPN. And then he now works independent, no longer with the ESPN, but he is married to a white woman, makes a lot of videos troping things about interracial couples.
Oh, that's what it's saying. Because he said that after I said that about that Tyler Hero comment.
Yo, Swiper, can you tell us where he was born and raised? What high school he attended? Elementary
high school he went to?
Yeah.
I don't know what high school he went to.
Favorite color?
He's
what's
from
his favorite ice cream? What's his favorite ice cream flavor?
Well, yo, I don't know. I met, but remember Baylor. So do the math. It's like, you know.
Okay.
So I'm just asking.
I'm talking to him, not necessarily you. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he
then dropping knowledge on you. Why you always have this attitude about knowledge?
Come on, Ox.
What's his favorite color?
Get smarter.
Pin, sit down and stay at a grown folks conversation.
I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, grown
folks.
Stay
out of grown folks' business.
I be forgetting that like all of you guys are old. Like I do be forgetting that sometimes.
Hey, you know, hold on. And that's another thing too. You know what I find funny, Ron? People legit, like I said something about a little relationship thing. Because you know, Ox, there's a little thing on the timeline last night where this woman shared that this chef was in her DMs. He was married the whole time. So she blew up the message. It wasn't even nothing crazy. It was just like, hey, I want to meet you too. Wooty, wooty, woo. Wasn't nothing like it was out of pocket, but it wasn't like out of pocket. Nonetheless, I said, bro, for me, I don't slide in DMs on my platform because it can go wrong in more ways than it can go right.
Oh, so you got a burner?
No, I don't got a burner. I just don't do it. Like I'm gonna meet you up in real life. We're gonna move it there and then whatever. I'm saying, bro, people in my we're talking about oh yeah, Unc, why you giving relationship? I'm like, Unc, bro, I don't know what y'all think is I don't know what Unc age is supposed to be, bro, but I feel like 30s ain't supposed to be.
We were just talking about this with Bama on Playback. Marsh was up there on Playback. We was just talking about this.
If you were born before, like, if you were born and Michael Jordan was still playing for the Bulls,
no, that's crazy. That's insane. That's
insane. What about Wizards?
That's insane, bro.
No, Wizards Jordan, like you get that's what 03 he retired.
Yeah, Unc is 25 and older. Y'all are nuts.
If you really,
if
43 and a half.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Best basketball player in the world. When you were born, if Michael Jordan was still the best basketball player in the world,
what if you like 26 and you just look old as hell?
Jordan
on 26.
He just turned 29. Jordan the same age. Jordan Unc at 29. Is he Unc?
I think he's 28.
Yeah, 96. Are we serious?
Come on.
Jordan's 29. But Jordan wanted to be Unc though. So he not, you know what I'm saying? So Jordan
has old head energy, first of all.
If Michael Jordan was still the best player in the world when you were born, that's crazy. And if you were alive or born when Kareem was still the best player in the world,
bro, I was born when Arvydas Sabonis was the best player in the world.
Then at that point, respectfully, like I'm surprised you're still breathing. Like,
all right, here, Mars. What's big bro age and what's Unc age? Big bro. What's big bro age and then Unc age? What's the difference?
Well, I ain't out here calling anyone big bro, but like someone who like you can. It's respectable. Like if you were around the time where Shaq and Kobe were at their like apex together, like the 3-peat years, that's a cool, respectable age. If you, like I said, if Michael Jordan was still the best player on the planet and you were alive and like you were walking on the earth, not crawling, walking on the earth, that's ridiculous.
So if you were born before 98, 97?
Yeah, if you like 97, like you born like 97, that's ridiculous. And if you born like 10 years before that,
Ox, I take it back. This generation is cooked. I take it back.
Yo,
forget brittle. Cooked.
If you were born before Magic Johnson's retirement, like
Mars,
I'm saying there's levels to this. Like the youngest of all unks is like you were walking when Michael Jordan was on top of the NBA. That's the youngest of all unks. And then as time goes further on, if we're at the point where you were a conscious human and Magic Johnson was still in the NBA without having any illnesses,
I would say this 100% with 1,000% conviction of life experience. Your age is irrelevant. 100%. Your actual age inside, like your body age and your birth certificate, are not linked. Like there's a correlation, but it's not a defined correlation. So I have met plenty of people.
You look old, you're an Unc.
Like,
do
no,
you look old?
I'm gonna put it this way: if you are depressed, if you are somebody who does not take care of themselves, if you live a sedentary lifestyle, if you make a lot of bad choices, if you do drugs, if you drinking alcohol, whatever, then at 24 you might be unk. You might be unk at 24. Shit, you might be unk at 18. Right. And genetic factors have a lot to do with it. If you lose your hair early, if whatever, all that shit, your skin is bad. But if you're like 45 and you pursuing meaning and life and you're active and you're taking care of yourself, you're not unk.
Bro, this is too deep.
I know.
Kenny cooking you from the comments now,
a lot
Pen.
of bad people who have made that same.
Penn saying age just a number. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Thank you for the AI chat summary.
Made that argument.
Yo,
20s is not
Ron, are you Unc Ron?
Here's what I try to tell Bama this on Playback. Mars was there. I'm trying to tell you, Swiper. I'm trying to tell Ox. I'm trying to tell Penn. Y'all just embrace being an old nigga. Y'all old as dirt. It ain't nothing wrong with it.
I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with being old. I think
how old
living
you
in
look,
denial
nigga.
about it is
You
crazy.
old. Swiper, take your hat off. You are old. Penn, you're dirt. You're old as dust. It ain't nothing wrong with it. Be a embrace it. Y'all,
I agree. I agree. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with being old. It's just it throws me off when old people deny being old. Like there's nothing wrong
to
with it.
anybody who missed it.
Old is wild.
To anybody who missed it on Playback, the average human being is 30.4 years old. 30.4, which means if you're older than 30.5, you are older than the average person on Earth, which is crazy. But that's actually more of a testament to how young the population is.
30.5. So what's that? 1995, maybe late 94.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much, if you were walking around the Earth when Michael Jordan was the best player in the world,
I was right. See, I was right.
You're older than the average person.
Correct. I got it basically down to the day. If you were walking when MJ was still the best player in the world, yeah, you old, you unk. It is what it is. But I don't hold it against you guys that you guys are old. Other than like chill, because like he's the Kareem era. Like that's crazy. Like I'd be forgetting that like chill saw Kareem win MVPs. Like in the flesh, he saw Kareem win MVPs. That's ridiculous.
I feel like I've seen so many people in my life at the age of 40 just be done with life, and they're not pursuing anything, and they're not active, and they just feel old. Like they got bad energy. They're not learning anything new. And then I see people in their 60s and 70s and they're fucking running marathons. And I'm like, all right, that's who I want to be. So I'm not going to let somebody tell me that, okay, because you're 36 or you're 37, that, okay, you're like there's plenty of people. And I'm not even trying to stand up for people who are older here, because I feel that's the weirdest shit in the world. Like I can't even wrap my head around the idea that someone thinks I'm old. But I just want to say there's plenty of people who break through in their 70s. There's plenty of people who break through in their 60s. So if I'm personally for more empowering messages than disempowering messages. So if there's someone out there who's listening to you thinking, oh shit, I'm 30, I guess my life's over. No, your life is
it's not over, but you're old.
Nah, your life is just starting at 30, man. I will honestly tell you the age that I'm looking forward to the most is probably 45 to 60. That is the age that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, you earn your most money at that age.
Ken sent the super chat.
Are you old? Are you old?
How old?
He's 4. He's 4. Is he old?
What is that?
But in dog years, that's
20. He's almost 5, so about 30. He about 30 something.
He getting there. Yep,
he getting there.
He getting there. I'll say that. He getting there. Ken 10 said, never forget Isaiah Thomas was betting on games. Isaiah Thomas was betting on games?
I don't know that. Which Isaiah Thomas?
I don't know.
He spelled it as Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas, but I don't know if that's who he's talking about. So
he probably has to be.
Yeah, I can tell you. Prod by P said Shay's getting superstar calls now. Sensational. Now.
Where have you been the last 3 years?
Yeah, it's been happening for a minute. John D at the Buzzer Sports, go subscribe. Said Jaylen Brown's so overrated, man.
See, John D knows. John D knows.
I do think he's. I don't know how many people really talk about Jaylen Brown very high these days. Nahom Jakob said Luca's blood was from when they were draining inflammation. That's why I assume injections.
Thank you for that. I was wondering. Yeah.
So I was right. Injections lead to that. I know he was playing with like a right knee sprain. Your Highness Charles says, I think you're missing that I'm the OG troll. Shout out to Your Highness Charles. Mitsu said, Ron, start debating again. Let the lion return. Okay. And then Rod said, Mars, the Bulls are stuck in the play-in. I don't care now. Okay, understandable. I can respect that. And then Pimp Ning Slipback said, "Your unk when Madonna is turning you down." Madonna has a thing for young individuals.
Very, yeah. And
How old is Madonna?
70s, I believe.
70s.
Cher is in her 70s, and she's dating somebody
70s,
in her 20s right now.
Hey,
Cher, but Cher been. To be fair, Cher looks amazing at her age. Like she's been taking care of herself.
Madonna's 66.
Yeah, she damn near there. Madonna takes care of. She looked good too. For her 66.
Madonna,
she was born in like 19. What was that? 15.
I'm just gonna say, like, honestly, this Botox and plastic shit, I'm not really for it. Like, if you do a little bit of work here and there, take care of yourself, that's cool. If you look like a gargoyle, I'd rather you just look old. To be honest.
Gargoyle was crazy. But anyway, that's all the super chats. Shout out to Ron for leaving so I could get through the super chats. Thank you guys for watching. We will be on Playback later on the main stage doing Rockets versus Heat. You'll also find out who won in the PCL. So tap into that. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you on later. And